Bitcoin. Oh. Bitcoin. Oh. We're looking at the Bitcoin prices today. We're looking at the 30-second Bitcoin chart. Oh. Bitcoin price in US dollars, 49,427. Oh. Sikander, hello. K-Doc, hello. Swisher, hello. Randy, hello. Stanley, hello. K-Doc, hello. Always learning, hello. Dan, hello. CT, hello. Jamie, hello. Who let the bulls out? Hello. Walku, hello. Andy, hello. Navanethan, hello. Drew's Tech, hello. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. Check, check. 1, 2, check, check. Bitcoin. Oh. It's so good to see you all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to this show. My name is Rocky Outcrop. We take a look at crypto technical analysis in this show, and we do it well. Community first, friendliness first, respect, honesty, trust, all that good stuff. It's lovely to see everybody chatting away in the chat box. In fact, it was fantastic to be a part of the chat for a wee while. It felt nice to be in there chatting away with y'all. Bitcoin, how? Hi everybody! Hiya! How are you all? Hope you're all doing really well out there. I am Rocky Outcrop. You can't take that away from me. Biddlem. That's right, you'll never liquidate my name. Well, you might liquidate my account, or at least remove me from using Bybit's services. For anybody who wants to sign up to Bybit, of course, there is an affiliate link in the description down below, but worth pointing out to everybody in the UK that they are going to comply with the new legislation from the financial... what do they call themselves these days? The Financial Conduct Authority, right? And according to them, there is no need for retail traders to be able to trade cryptocurrency derivatives. But of course, the need for retail traders to be able to trade things like uranium, now that's fine. If you want to trade uranium or any other nuclear material for that matter as a retail trader, you're more than welcome to do that across all of the derivatives that are out there. Right. However, they were unable to identify a need for the retail trader to be able to trade crypto assets. Well, anyway, that's the situation that we're in. Do we think it'll be reviewed? Probably. The FCA. It sounds like an abbreviation of 3 swear words, does it not? I bet you K-Dot could come up with a good answer to that one. I hope Dot screams to the moon. My average entry is about £17, says K-Dot. Well, there you go. So he'll be hooping for that one. Put your spacesuits on, fam. We are rocketing to the moon. Well, in a 30-second time frame, it certainly looks like that, doesn't it? This is, of course, you can do TA on these low-term time frames. This ridiculous 30-second time frame, for example. But we'll not be doing that during the show. We'll be looking at it from a little bit more of a wise perspective. There was a couple of things I wanted to talk about in today's show. Not too sure if I'll actually do it. Not too sure if I'll actually do it necessarily. One of the things I was going to talk about, let me just jump up to a really big time frame like the weekly so you can see what I was kind of looking at here, is the is this parabolic curve. Now, parabolic curves, this is something that if you go out and try and find any information about on the internet, you will struggle, ladies and gentlemen, which is why I thought I would maybe talk about them today a little bit. There's a couple other things I want to talk about today as well, like the Donchin channels, for instance. I was requested to do that, although I probably should really dedicate more time and energy into doing that one. So we could talk about it briefly here, but talk about it properly some other time. Another thing I was going to talk about today, if people can remind me, is to try and look for a cup with handle on the Tezos chart on the big old time frames zoomed right on out. So I'll be trying to take a look at that one as well in this episode today. Do you want it on the 1 minute chart? Okay, who let the bulls out? Let's go to the 1 minute. That's the weekly chart, and I've got this curve on here. But let's just jump down to 1 minute as we do the old chit chat at the start of the show. There we go. That's much more sensible, isn't it? Thanks for hitting like, K-Doc. And if anybody else thinks, hey, let's try and let the YouTube algorithm know that this is a video worth watching, the best way to do that is to hit that like button. Thank you so much for that. And of course, if you come along here and you're new, then hitting that subscribe button is always encouraged, although I'll not be mentioning that very often during the show, because as we know here, everybody who joins along and comes along to these shows is absolutely free to make up their own mind about whether or not they want to come back, and more often than not, they do. You know, it's just that nobody finds the show, which is why I was saying let's try and help people find the show in the first instance. A couple of things we'll be talking about then on top of those aspects, which was what, again, the cup with handle, and maybe talk about Dungeon channels a wee bit and parabolic curves. I was going to talk a little bit about, yes, the suggestion from Sikander in the chat, who's a new trader, and I'm sure a lot of you out there will have a lot of sympathy for him, having recently enough been new traders yourself. Fond memories of those halcyon days, right? and can chip in with some tips for new traders. But I think if I were to try and do a little bit of that here today on Friday's live stream, then that might be something that people can get some value from. Tips for new traders or mistakes that new traders make that would be good to avoid. That's the sort of the general topic for discussion. If you want to chuck your suggestions into the chat box, then of course I will be reading them out during the show to see what we got going on with people's new tips. Now, again, as well, if you're a new trader yourself, you might have a tip, you know, that you experienced 20 minutes before the show went live or something like that, like don't do what I just did type of thing. Those are always really, really good, because in the moment, just, you know, following on from when some mistake happened, you're very much living that experience. You haven't necessarily got quite enough time there to cognitive dissonance it away into blaming the markets or some other sort of spurious nonsense, perhaps. So we can get in there if it's raw with anybody. That would be quite nice, I suppose. Right, but we will start the show off with some TA on BTC. The BTCs. So, right, so, but actually, no, we'll not. We'll start off the TA with a wee discussion about this curve, okay? This curve here, and you know what? Do I want to zoom out even more and bring some more of this on? This is a logarithmic chart, by the way, which makes a big difference when you're on the weekly. Just take it off log and you can see how none of that really makes any sense anymore. So there's something, by the way. Okay, let's just do this in stages, shall we? Sikander, here's a tip for you. There are different ways of looking at charts. One of them is the logarithmic chart compared to the linear chart. And the big difference here is that the axis, the y-axis, the up one, is measured in sort of percentage change. So that means that when you're looking at the big moves in the market, you can see them a lot easier, because of course the relative difference between one price point and another, as opposed to the absolute difference, is what's shown on this chart here. So you get a far clearer picture when you're looking at a really long-term trend there. Here's another couple of little things that you might not know about as a new trader. There's various different options up here. Now, you'll always see, almost always, with people talking about charts these days, that they're using just the old candlesticks here. Now, something that people who like to talk about things as if they're from the professional world, or want to seem like they're total professionals all the time, etc., like to use the bar chart here. There's various different reasons for why you want to use it. you can see how it works, right? And it's kind of implicit in the functioning of the bars themselves, how this thing works, right? Just flick between candles and bars here real quick so you can see. So as you see on the candles, when it's on the candles like this one, that there's wicks and bodies. When you're on the bar chart, then you see that the wicks are actually, you know, not so distinguishable, and instead what it does is it connects up one bar to the next at the point at which it closed. And of course the subsequent bar opened up. So you're seeing the same information here, but it's displayed slightly differently. And it does, and perhaps, you know, just with this subjective viewpoint here, where I've obviously cut through these wicks, you can see when it's on the with this curve here, you can see when it's on the bar chart that it's slightly less forgiving with how you look at wicks. And I think in a way that what can happen here when you're looking at just the candlesticks is that you can get a little bit kind of fascinated with the implication of wicks, okay? And what this does is it simply just kind of removes that from your perspective, and instead you're talking about the true range of the prices, if you like. Okay, so there's that bit for us as well. Little things that you probably already know. Here's another one for people who probably already know it as well. But you've got various different ways of doing candles, and here's the Hikinashi chart for you. So we can see back here in the bull run of 2017 that on the weekly chart, how we were green and green and green, and we got these little red instances from time to time. Now on the regular chart, the regular candles, you'll see. Whoops! You'll see that it's not the same picture exactly over here. It's like with the downward slope, for instance, it's not the same again here. The downward price action. You can see how there's significantly more red in this section here than there is on the candles chart. Well, maybe not significantly more. Yeah, actually, well there is, but it makes it a little bit clearer in terms of your trend. And essentially, the reason for it is because the calculations behind it determine whether or not a candle will be green or red, or positive or negative, or up or down, actually, I should say. Oh no, we're back at 49,097. Oh jeez, God, $500 of volatility, just as you chat about things to help new traders. My goodness, it's almost ironic. It's almost ironic. Right. So, so before I go on to crack on to talk about other things, there's this concept that you'll occasionally see people talking about. Which is sometimes called the parabolic curve. Now, for clarity, there's a couple of different parabolic curve things. Welcome to trading. Another tip for new traders right here is that the taxonomy, that's the jargon, if you like, the words and the language that we use in trading, the taxonomy, is highly repetitive, and everybody kind of competes to use a selection of what feels like 5 different words to describe the entire system. Now, I wonder if it's different in different languages. It probably is. Japanese people are probably not quite so sort of repetitive with their words. Nevertheless, anyway, I'm talking about here, when I'm talking about this curve here, I'm talking about it from the perspective of someone like Peter Brandt, okay? Peter Brandt, B-R-A-N-D-T. And something that I was asked earlier on was, can I recommend any other traders out there? And if there's one person, if I had to shoot all of the recommendations in the head, I wouldn't do that to TradeSpot because he's my brother. Much love. But I would probably choose Peter Brandt, B-R-A-N-D-T, as being somebody who is actually worth listening to. Okay, now that's being quite harsh in a way on everybody else, because I've got an almost unfathomable depth of respect for the likes of Eric Crown. But nevertheless, Peter Brandt is a wizened old man, right? And he's been trading for a long time, 172 years, in fact. And he is also quite funny. He's a real troll. And now nobody understands that he's a troll, because nobody expects somebody who's like 67 to actually be trolling anybody. Or 79 or 106 or whatever age he is. But he does it all the time, and nobody seems to pick up on it. And he puts out bad advice onto Twitter all the time just for a laugh. He does stuff which is, which is great, which makes me respect him in terms of him being like having an actual brain, and being able to think for himself. And I really respect that in people. Anyway, he's a big fan of this curve, okay? And actually, tell you what, right? Let's just take a second here. You can go to Bitcoin Live, right? Bitcoin Live, Bitcoin.live. Is it Bitcoin.live? This is Peter Brandt's thing, okay? Now, he works with a guy here on it and several other people, one of whom I don't like. For instance, Bob Lucas. Not a fan of Bob Lucas there. This guy, Bob Lucas. Not a big fan of him, okay? I am really. I'm not. But Peter Brand there, it's like he's named after a brand of Belgian chocolate or something, is actually worth listening to. Right, now, if you want to have some educational content which goes beyond the Rocky Outcrop chat, then here's somewhere that you can go. Now, I'm not telling you to sign up to their paid stuff because it's not worth it, probably. Probably, right? I do recommend signing up to my Patreon because I'm such a great guy. That's my recommendation basis for that. But if you want to, you can look back at his previous. He puts out a video like once a month or something like that. Does Peter? Takes him a wee while to get the old computer fired up. And I'm sorry, Peter, if you ever watch this, for taking the piss so much. Of course, like I say, he'll get it. He's like K-Doc in that respect. But he has like his video out here, and you can go and check it out yourself. Now, during this video, shush, I'll have. Shut up. During this video here, you'll see that he talks about a couple of different things. Now, he's not a spring chicken, right? As a phrase that I usually like to use instead of he wasn't born yesterday. I like to get that one wrong on purpose. But funnily enough, he actually isn't a spring chicken. So I was rubbing that in a lot. And he loves a curve, right? He loves a curve. He loves a curve, okay? And it's like one of his things. Now, the actual sort of way of using this thing isn't particularly well documented anywhere in the world. So I just thought I would kind of bring up a couple of key points for people, because you might be interested in it if you ever watch his stuff, but it's not actually that big a deal necessarily. But I thought I would talk about it for a wee while. And there's a couple other things I thought I would talk about. In fact, as well, if you actually go and watch this video here, you'll notice that, and I'm not in his paid thing at all, you'll notice that he's talking during this video about a lot of concepts that I actually explained really, really, really well at the time. Big up me. And the TA that he does for this section where he's like goes into the time of where it's happening at, it's just ever so slightly wrong. Not wrong. It's not wrong. But you know what I mean. And he was identifying this in a way where he didn't actually see the breakout happening. Okay, a couple of little tips for you here. Might be a good idea to keep your volume on the chart. Now, Peter himself knows all about volume and everything else, and he talks about it all the time. But he's only really interested in it at the start and end of runs, and he doesn't point out with particular consistency about the need to look for volume during breakouts of patterns, whatever. He's a pattern trader, more or less, you could say. He's actually a classical technical chartist, is what you would call it. But of course, that in itself is an incredibly old-fashioned sounding turn of phrase, isn't it? And you can go and check that out. You'll enjoy watching it. You'll enjoy watching all of his stuff. He's a highly educational guy, okay? And a lot of the lessons that he gives to you will maybe be the broader overview. Of course, you might actually not understand a thing he's talking about, and that's also fine. But a broader overview look at things, which will really maybe help you understand the sort of thing that I talk about all the time. Because, of course, I'm a far, far, far better, far more superior educator than old Peter is there. But I am, right? And so it'll help you maybe looking at that. So that's a wee shout out to somebody else, another tip for new traders or whatever. And to answer that question that Sikander asked. Now, actually, you'll see here in his video that he's got several he puts several Bitcoin live. Ooh, live. Ooh, wow, that's what we're doing right now. He puts several of these curves on here, and he talks about them for a couple of different reasons. And I thought I would bring that up and just kind of show you what we're looking at. So, for instance, here on his, has he got the weekly chart open? Right? Yeah. Let me just see. Where's his W there? Okay. So he's got this whole section here. Just as a sort of quick look at things, that looks to me like 2017. That looks to me like July. That looks to me like March. Right? July 2019, then March 2020. So he drew a parabolic curve on here somewhere, right? And then when the prices broke it. Now, you often hear me say this, and it's not, I couldn't give the credit where it's due. Maybe a decade or so ago, I learned this from Peter or whatever myself in terms of when parabolic breaks, when parabolic curves break, when parabolic moves break to the downside, there's so often an 80% pullback in the prices. Now, that's I to give credit where it's due. I think that particular tidbit comes direct from the Peter Brand school of technical analysis, right? I'm not sure if it was necessarily him that necessarily came up with that himself or whatever, but it's definitely a thing, okay? And it's more a thing in crypto land than it is in any other land. So it's so we get to see this sort of thing happen quite a lot. In the same way, that looking at the MACD and seeing divergence on it probably indicates that there's a wedge on the chart. That's a direct rocky outcrop, piece of technical analysis advice there that I've never seen anybody else say, really, to be honest with you. And yet it's such a key and obvious thing. So we all have our own little bits that we learn and share with people across time, and this is one of his, I suppose. But the actual makings of one of these curves is not really explained anywhere, and a couple of little tidbits for you might be useful. So if we take a look back in the past, you can see in the 2017 run that what you're looking to do is get a couple of touches on this thing, right? Okay, right, great. That's kind of speaks for itself, like all sort of trend lines. And then what you don't want to ever do is find yourself pulling the trend line anywhere past 90 degrees. But in fact, 90 degrees itself is obviously a little bit kind of that's too much at that point. That's kind of, you probably got it drawn in wrong, in the sense that there are always pullbacks during these moves anyway, and that is, you don't want to be going past 90 degrees. So there's a little tip for you on that front in terms of how you would draw these things in. This is not the Hathaway curve. If you're looking at it, that's another tip. You can see it doesn't really work there from that starting point, as a starting point from just here. Here it works much better. You're looking to have a sort of curved, smooth line. You don't really want to be messing about too much with this circle that's in the middle of this thing. You just want to kind of leave it actually in the middle where it started at. I'm kind of doing this because I'm just a little bit distracted as I talk and stuff at the same time. Anyway, as you can see here, you've got a real nice parabolic curve, and it doesn't ever go into the 90-degree spectrum. And then when it did break, that was the end of that bull market, okay? And you could do the same sort of thing over here with our current price action. Now, in terms of like cutting it up to 90 degrees from where we are just now, that obviously is a non-goer, but we can go here, and we're only maybe about 50 degrees or whatever. We're about 50, you know what I mean? It depends where you draw your degree thing in from. We're maybe about 50. We're past the 45 point. Don't really want to see things going too much past 45 degrees, really, in general. But yeah, too much past it. But yeah, we've got one of these on the go at the minute. Now, there's plenty of actual room left for us to go if we want to with this move overall, as you'll see Peter Brandt himself talking about last month. Now, we're overall more or less in the same place. I'm actually quite curious to see what his video says next month, to be honest. That's the first time I've watched one of those videos of his in over a year, by the way, for full disclosure. By the way, shout out to who let the bulls out. Nice chatting to you during Eric Crown's stream the other day. That was really nice, wasn't it? I just happened to be up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and decided that I would stick him on just to see what the chat was and say hello to the guy, and it was lovely, nice little experience, and it was nice to see him saying hi back, and to show a little bit of support and drop him a tenner just to be, showing that community support. So that was good. But I don't watch anybody else on YouTube, you know? So that was just kind of a bit of fun there. Just I wanted to go in there and kind of check out. But anyway, I'll always tell you when I watch anybody else's stuff, everything I always say is always my own content. And if it isn't, then I always give, to the best of my ability, credit where it's due. But it's really easy for me to do that overall because I just don't watch anything that anybody else says. Anyway, I thought it'd be maybe a worthwhile endeavor to bring up this idea because parabolic moves happen consistently with Bitcoin, you know? And when it's in a bullish phase, and we're also seeing this. We're seeing one here now. How would you draw it in? It's horizontal lines, right? Here's another tip for new trader. Horizontal lines are much more reliable than diagonal lines. Lines which slope are less reliable than lines which are flat. That is a tip. Now, here's another tip. Lines which curve, especially with subjective, with extreme subjective placement issues, are much less reliable. Okay, that's okay because as you're using these things, you would be obviously constantly adjusting. There you go. You'll hear Peter Brandt say that if you actually watch that video, by the way. Right, another thing that you might find interesting, if I just hide all the drawings from the TA that he does, is that he uses the 18 period exponential moving average. Now, if you've been a long time viewer to the channel, you'll have heard me say this numerous times in the past, that Jan Peter loves the 18 period exponential moving average. Now that's the green one that I usually have on the charts here. He loves the 18 period exponential moving average on all time frames, okay? And occasionally he'll look for an analog of one on the other. So the 18 period moving average here on the weekly. You'll also look at the 18 period average on the daily. Right, okay. Now here's another tip for new traders. Just like Peter Brandt and the majority of decent traders out there, they actually look across the time frames when they do their analysis. That's very, very, very useful. Now, to do that in a sophisticated manner and to not confuse yourself, to not do confirmation bias, and to put it all together in a neat package is actually really, really hard. So don't worry about that. Just try to build up to it over time. Another tip for new traders is that they make their decisions really based off of the 424 or the week, as opposed to the 15-minute, the 1 hour, etc. So when you go onto YouTube and you watch somebody and they say, yeah, and we looked at this and on the 15-minute chart it said that, it's 9 times out of 10 it's like ultra facepalm moment, you know. But I'll not go on about it because I'm not a bitter old Peter Brandt man. And right, but what does he say about this one? Well, on the daily it gives you a lot of false signals. Right, okay, of course it does, but it gives you, a good early indication of when things are going awry. Over here on the weekly time frame, as you can see, we're a good deal away from the 18 period exponential moving average here, but breaking this would be quite bad. As you can see, we broke it back here in March, but this was of course the corona thing. Peter currently himself would be looking at this one and saying that he just thinks it was an aberration in the market, in the world, and it's not really relevant to technical analysis. Then you've got, incidentally though, there was a head and shoulders running into that, and it was actually on the charts and Chartable and explained here on the Rocky Outcrop channel. If you want to see that in evidence, go and check out the channel, search for head and shoulders, and you'll see a thumbnail with a bottle of Head and Shoulders shampoo on there. That video, I'm talking about the Head and Shoulders, which then ultimately played out with the March crash. Okay, so it was. I would disagree with Peter in that sense, but who cares, right? We're not here to talk about stuff like that. In terms of the actual lows, and the pushing on down, as far as we pushed on down, that was then, and this is now. It's not so clear on Bitcoin right there, but on Ethereum Classic it was like screaming in your face. Okay, so anyway, on the weekly time frame, if we break these moving averages then, and significantly break them, and we'll just skip this one for now, then it can spell a downward trend, at least for a number of weeks, but perhaps for an entire macro reversal. So if you combine a couple of things together, so what he would be looking at would be saying to you right now, we're above, this is Peter Brandt's TA for next month, brought to you a month in advance. Nice. Is we're above, the free version. What he's saying today is going to be this, that we're above the 18 period exponential moving average on the daily, and that is good, although we are of course asking questions of that right here right now over the last couple of days, and then last week we were as well. On the weekly time frame, we are above the 18 period exponential moving average, and as you can see, that's currently sat down here at 34 grand. So once again, just to point this out, we could come all the way down to 34 grand and still stay in a completely nice macro bullish trend. Okay, popping the curve back on, nice to just sanitize this and just compare it with a decent enough moving average on a weekly time frame, for example, just to see, you know, where you are more or less in relation to during this extreme parabolic movement. So you've just got a little bit of a sort of guideline for you. You know, again, another sort of tip that you're not going to get anywhere else. Then, and then you're looking here and you're saying, let's do a little bit more than just what Peter would say, right? Let's just do a little bit more than what Peter would say, because that is all he will be saying, by the way. That's all he'll be saying right now, is doing very well. The enthusiasm continues. We've taken out a couple of targets which are towards the top side. We could have found a top here. It's not happened yet. If we see certain breakdowns happen, things will be key. Where he's looking to then, just to, well, actually, this is the same thing he'd be saying. I was going to say it's more than Peter Brandt, but exactly how he'll finish up his analysis is he'll point out this low here at $30,000 and say, so long as the prices are above $30,000, we're doing fine overall. I will close out, this is what he would say, I will close my positions and recalibrate them and change the overall weighting of my management of my funds to the short side possibly, or go neutral at that stage, and I will certainly take off the risk I have towards the long side currently, at which he is 60% long. Look at that, Drew's Deck donated $10. Nice tips, Rocky. Here's a tip. Wow, fantastic. By the way, that guy, Drew's Tech, really nice guy, great guy. Check out his shop if you're ever in the area where he's at. Drop it in there in the chat. Maybe somebody lives nearby. You never know. Statistically speaking, chances are fairly slim. But also for everybody else, if you would like to donate to the channel, really is appreciated, like massively appreciated. It's huge. It makes a big difference, because in a sense we've got a little bit of a countdown ticker on the channel. I won't be doing this time next year if it isn't actually sort of really, you know, generating income. So, you know, there you go. And it's contributions like what Drew's Tech that made just there now that keep this thing going for everybody. Massively appreciated. Okay, it really does mean a lot, not just to me, but it means a lot to everybody. I'm here to help people, okay, to try and make positive change in everybody's life on a one-by-one basis, no matter, you know, what. However, there's only so much meat to go around, right? So that's great, and yeah, so okay, cool. So we'll be looking here, and he would be saying this is the key area to look to in terms of market structure. Two things actually is what he would say. First off, he would say that obviously it's not good taking out the previous highs at 38 grand. That's okay and livable with, but if we actually pull down towards 34 grand, then at that stage I'd have my finger on the button to be looking out for this price point of 30 grand, and I wouldn't carry it down past that any longer. We've come so far that eventually, you know, things kick on. For people who are interested, at the time when he put out that video, the weekly price chart had the 18 period moving average in at around about the mid to higher 20,000, about 28,000 or 25,000 or something. I don't know. He says it in the video then as well. So he was looking at that saying we could come down to here and then carry on up the way. The same sort of thing will be his analysis for right now. That's what he does. That's the full extent of his analysis. However, just to kind of put the cherry on the top and bring back the lessons altogether, he also uses the bars as opposed to the candlesticks on his chart. And the reason for which he does that is, as he says in that video, in a little snippet at one point, he says, I'm more of a true range guy. Okay, now he's also a discretionary trader. This is another thing for new traders, tip for new traders. You'll find a lot of videos on the internet which start off with chat like, the reason why you're losing money on trading is because you've not got a strategy that works. What you need is to be able to, you know, people lose money trading because they allow themselves to be influenced by their own opinions and emotions. What you need is a fixed hard strategy which will work for you. Blah, 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 blah. Give us your money. Now, that's true in a lot of ways. But once you've been trading for a long time, the lines between discretionary trading, which is what that means is you're trading with whereby you might have a series of rules that you follow, but you're going to choose your own tolerances and what you do and how you handle that yourself, and every decision is going to be more or less at subject to all of those things, like your opinions and stuff. So then obviously the point is to try and refine those, right? And then so is KDoc away off? See you later, KDoc. Thanks for tuning in, and all that. Need to run. Have a good night. Yeah, cool, KDoc. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. So what was I saying just there? That he is a discretionary trader. Yes, okay. So he's a discretionary trader, and another thing that he says is that he doesn't like to trade with this idea that there's a fixed point, that there's that here, we're looking at a head and shoulders over here, and there's a real neckline on this one, and it's this exact price point, and when we break it, then we're going to be then it's at that point exactly on that penny, just one or two ticks above there, and I'm going long. He doesn't treat it like that. He's got much more of a he thinks of necklines and stuff with big fuzzy zones around them. You'll have heard me talking about things in a similar sort of a way so many times on the channel if you've tuned in a lot. So again, now, funnily enough, I didn't know that he thought that way until I watched that video that I watched of his yesterday. But when he said it, I was like, haha, isn't this nice? Me and Peter, great minds and all that stuff, right? Cool. So we've covered quite a bit already in terms of tips for new traders. Let me just read through the chat and see if I've missed any that anybody chucked out there. So that's cool. If I did, then I hope I did miss some tips that people said, by the way. So let me see my average on dot. Oh no, I read that one. Drew's Tech Swisher with the W, nice one. Mistake number 1: canceling stop losses. Number 2: FOMO with no plan. There we go. Fantastic. Here, who let the bulls out? Thank you. 10 points to that guy. 20 points, in fact, to that guy. So mistake number 1: canceling stop losses. Look, when you enter a trade, deciding at the point at which you enter it where you will be wrong is necessary. Okay, so it's not a faith-based game, this one. It's not like when it goes past the point where you thought, if it goes down past there, I'll just pray harder and things will work better. That's not how it actually works, and over time you'll discover that for yourself. No, great tip. Just don't cancel your stop loss. Cancel, move, adjust, edit in any way, and you'll be much better across time. If you find yourself constantly failing there, then the failure is not to do with the efficacy of stop losses, it's to do with your placement of them. Deciding that on an ad hoc basis is going to be really bad. One of the reasons why is because of emotions in the moment clouding your objectivity, making it harder for you to make correct decisions. Secondly, FOMO as well. And that's the next part of that tip, FOMO with no plan. I like the way that you put a little qualifier on your FOMO there. It's as if to say that FOMO is absolutely fine so long as it's planned out. And sure enough, I think that what we are really doing here in the markets is really operating along a line of educated guesswork, as Peter Brandt would tell you. And that is there's always going to be a degree of FOMO, right? What we do here in the show is demonstrate all the time. Really, sometimes I go to great lengths to demonstrate how you don't need FOMO when you're trading. So that's that. Let me just see if anybody else says that. Your mic is pulsing and making noises. Sorry about that, guys. But stop now. Oh, good. Fantastic. It's probably started again since I started hitting it. Up 30% now. Well done, Andy. Well done, Andy. Crown is well worth a watch, says Jimmy there. That's excellent. Got a link coming in for the Patreon from Always Learning. Fantastic. Thanks, buddy. You're doing a great job there with that spanner so far today. Loving it. Sikander Shah chart. What are you asking there? What do you mean volume on a chart? Volume, by the way, is this part down the bottom. Volume is going to be big, determined by the number of trades, okay, or small if there's less volume going through on that particular trading session. Okay, this is obviously determined by the session that you're looking at. So this is the volume that's happened this week compared to last week, less this week compared to last week. That's not very, very good to see at this stage on that chart, incidentally. Here you can see the effect of that, overall, and that the volume has overall been declining, slightly risen up slightly over the last couple of days, but that's, the average of the last 20 days has been pushed up. Why? Because of downward price action. Okay, so not because of upward price action. A little interesting things like that, but also worth knowing that that the color then of these is determined by the actual end result of the day. Okay, so it only actually takes $1 to send the price of any asset from 0 to infinity. Really, actually, that's the truth of it, because orders don't have to actually. Orders on books are not real. It's just a kind of a vague promise that's not really necessarily going to be kept. And you can effectively paint colors onto charts at times. Okay, it really depends, especially if you're a big operator in the markets yourself. Okay, so just keep an eye out for that sort of thing. Just be aware. So I mean, when this is a massive red candle, that doesn't mean that it's so red because so many people sold. It meant that it's so big because so many people that were trying to sell found people who were willing to buy it, and they kept on selling it, and that's kind of the point there. But of course, then this could have been as a result of the size of that candle. Retrospectively, you can't tell just looking here, 24-hour time frame. You can't tell if the candle here, which is one of the big ones, had all of the volume come in at the end to push that back up after just a little bit of volume. 90% of this could have been buying volume in a sense, and just a little bit red, but it's determined by the day. Okay, and then it's equally for this one here. Another big day could have been that these two wicks at the bottom were finding the volume coming in. The volume can be triggered by a number of different things. For instance, stop hunts. You'll always see big volume on stop hunts because that's what they're looking for. So when we've had the recent examples of stop hunts in the past that we spoke about back then, did we speak about it then, or was it this one that we're speaking about? Might have been round about here we're speaking about it. You'll see the big volume candles on those days as well. Look out for that happening. That's quite a good thing to be aware of. Okay, it's a good thing to be aware of. So let's see, what else did we have? The bars along the bottom of the chart. Yes, thanks for the explanation, by the way, Trace1, really helping there. And as well, K-Doc helping out. Snap, great minds. You'll see the yellow line going through it. That's the moving average of the volume over time. 20 periods, in fact, on my chart as it happens. High five. Yeah, excellent stuff. Let's see. Sikander, Rocky is talking about tech. Yep, cool, excellent. Thanks for helping each other out. See this community here that we have? Fantastic stuff. Communicating with each other like that, so great. Haha, thank you. Yeah, I have a computer and cell phone shop. This is Drew's Tech that we're talking about here. He has a computer and cell phone repair shop in South Mississippi, US. You guys can hit him up if you need repairs or tech advice. Okay? Anybody out there in South Mississippi, Mississippi, any of yous out there near that region, drop in, give Drew's Tech a shout out for me sometime, okay? That'd be cool if you ever did that. So, Sikander, I understand that I'm saying, what's the best levels out there of the numbers? Thank you, Rocky. I've learned a lot and hope to learn more. Right, cool. A couple more tips that we'll get through here, and then we'll just kind of push through the analysis to get the sort of video done, I suppose, in a sense, in that way, okay? You were asking earlier on about whether or not it's better to trade coins that are expensive versus coins that are cheap earlier on. And while it is true that you can very much get bigger movements in terms of smaller priced assets, that's actually a function of the liquidity in the market, which means none of it's guaranteed to stay there. Check it out. Dan Anthony, fantastic. That isn't actually a function of being fantastic. It's a great opportunity necessarily. It's quite often a subject to being manipulated, and of course the volatility could be real. The really hurt you. Cheers, Dan. Let's just read what he says. This isn't financial advice, but you should listen to Rocky. Fantastic. So yeah, there's that. So it's quite often, and if you want to read more about this sort of thing from the perspective of an outside of crypto world, just so you can get a feeling, because all of this is as old as the hills, all of the technical analysis we do here, yes, 24-hour markets, etc., but it's all as old as the hills. You can go and just look up information about penny stock trading, okay? There's the same basic principles here, right? Same basic principles all the way through to the boiler rooms, which phone up people and say, you got to buy this one, and then they phone up the other clients and say, you got to sell this one, and then playing the book against people in that way, right? That is very very much a real thing that happens as well in cryptocurrency, just as much. So in terms of, if you were to put $100 on and you had a positive trade, no matter what the underlying price of the thing was, and it goes up and you make money, if that was a coin that cost you $1, or it was a coin that cost you $50,000 to have a full one, and you're getting equivalent of $100 worth, so you've got 100 coins of the $1 coin, and you've got a very, very small fraction of the $50,000 coin, which one do you make more money on? It's the same. And your suggestion as you asked that question about whether or not it's determined by the percentage move is absolutely correct. Okay, so it's really to do with questions about the volatility, the liquidity, the TA that you're doing at the time, and whatever sort of fundamentals you want to sprinkle in there for that PCP magic from those fundamentals guys out there. You might want a bit of that on the go as well, and that's what will make the difference. Okay, it won't actually be the price of the coin that makes the difference. Let's do some TA on Bitcoin. Now, I've already given you the Peter Brandt for next year. In fact, do we do that again? So we just do that again so I can actually make it into an episode. Let's do that again and I'll make it into an episode, right? So that everybody out there in the world that loves Peter Brandt but doesn't want to have to pay to get access to his specific information can just get it from me for free in advance. How about that instead? Let's just do that real quick. I almost feel bad when I remove my old drawings on the chart by accident because, you know, good laugh to look back in time at stuff like that. Right, okay, so Peter Brandt style. Peter Brandt doesn't really do much with Fibonacci's. I'll just hide that for now. There's too many levels on here. He's old school. He's not going to have hundreds of different levels on the chart, so we'll just get rid of that as well. Hide that one. Just hide a few more of these. I'll leave that one on there because it's quite important, and I'll leave the lower one on there because it's also quite important for us as well. Excellent stuff. Right, cool. Right, I'm going to drop a marker in here. I'm going to release 2 Bitcoin videos today, I think, then at the end of it, sort of Rocky Outcrop's technical analysis and Peter Brandt's technical analysis as presented by Rocky Outcrop or something like that, or else I'll get bored and just do the Peter Brandt one alone or whatever. It's pretty hard to know with these live show things. Right, so there we go. By the way, during this section, if you are just joining me, 2 things. 1, drop a like, really do appreciate it. Secondly, I'm not going anywhere. This isn't the end of the show at all. This is just me making a little snippet for the folks back home. That's what we call it on the channel, the folks back home. For everybody back home who's not watching this live right now, let's make a little snippet. We'll do it together here live, and then what I'll do at the end is I'll cut that section out from the live, publish it as a separate video, and then all the folks back home get to watch it at their leisure. Right, okay, so I'll be running the intro clips during this section, then I'll come back into the main screen, etc., and see how it all goes. Hi, friends. Oh, wait, I need to drop another stream marker just so I can find this easier. The Bitcoin prices are absolute. Wait a minute. I'm trying to do Peter Brandt. I don't want to like go talk like he does, because that would be seen as ageist, probably in today's world. So I'll not do that. But he also isn't like super enthusiastic or anything, so it's a bit of a hard one. I don't want to do an impression of Peter Brandt. I don't think I could do an impression of Peter Brandt, and if I did an impression of him, it wouldn't work very well. So I'll just Anyway, incidentally, funnily enough, the YouTube algorithm will well confused. I've said the words Peter Brandt about 100 times more than I've said the words Bitcoin so far in this episode. So it'll look through and go, "What's this about? What's this about?" Anyway. Bitcoin has reached 49,000. Is that good enough? Is it or is it not? Let's take a look at the Bitcoin prices from the perspective of how Peter Brandt might be looking at the charts right now. Of course, I'm Rocky Outcrop. I'm not actually Peter Brandt, but this is what I suspect he'll be thinking right now. Thanks for joining me. Let's hope that there's some value in this for you. This is going to be a little bit of fun for us. So, just cut that a bit early. As you can see below me, there is a box full of chitter chatter. What's that, you're asking? This is filmed during a live stream. Be sure to join me for one of them. It's great, interactive, you get to ask questions, everything is fantastic, and tell you what, the community is second to none. This is the 24-hour Bitcoin chart that we have up here. If we want to be true to the Peter Brandt style, we're going to actually have to start this on the weekly. So going up towards the weekly chart here, what can we see? Big old parabolic trend curve, nice to see that. Peter, of course, would always have one of them. This isn't actually positioned on here properly. It's that there is probably a better use of the thing. But anyway, we're past that stage now, and what we're looking to is how we're quite a distance away from actually breaking this just yet. This could be positioned in a number of different ways, but what we want to see is it not going past the full sort of 90 degrees. It can't curve to the left. That's just silly. Pardon me. Adjust this along the way as you go, of course, but we're quite a ways away from that. If we were to be looking towards breaking this, there's a couple of key areas that I've written out here with horizontal lines, and that's going to be 41,000 and 30,000 are the two key areas to look to. Now, those will also become clear here in just a second in terms of the other Peter Brandt analysis. In terms of the weekly, then looking down here at the Bitcoin prices for 35,000 US dollars is where we find the 18-period exponential moving average coming in here. Now, of course, Pete is a big fan of that, especially when he's looking at Bitcoin. You'll see it in all of his chat. I say especially, but he uses it consistently. And he would be saying right now that there's actually, you know, the possibility of us coming all the way down to 34,000, 35,000, and it's still remaining in a really heady bull market, frothy bull market towards the top side. Everything would be okay, but actually in it around this area we can see a couple of critical things, especially in here at the 30,000 price point, where if we take out $30,000, move down towards 28 at this stage, then things are a lot worse than they were this time last month. Looking at it from the same sort of perspective, you know, we've really moved on up towards the top side since. That's been great. Now, you know, pulling back to this point would be unusual. Peter Brandt, little tidbit would be that if we do break down past this, then we can expect an 80% correction towards the downside. So let's just do a little bit of this for fun. If this were to happen at around about that stage and we saw an 80% retracement towards the downside, where would that take us into? And you can see that would take the prices of Bitcoin all the way back down to $8,000 something dollars, sub 10k, filling in that CME chart gap. Now, of course, actually, this is something that we've talked about since before that, you know, since we've talked about this as a thing since about August last year. So we've always been aware of this, but here we are talking about it from what eventually, now that we're here at the point where this is, you know, an actual possibility, that I haven't actually achieved that 50k plus price target, that is worth mentioning. Okay, so that's the weekly. That's where we stand on that front. So, you know, things remain bullish. We're in positions already, or if we're looking to take new ones, okay, everything's okay, it's looking bullish, everything's fantastic on that front. 24-hour time frame, little bit more confusing with this here. Now, what we're seeing here is that we're just above the 18-period exponential moving average on the daily, and that's where we want to be. That's the first step towards going up here and potentially taking out new highs, certainly from the old Peter Brandt perspective. So that's pretty good, but we're also going to have to look at this in terms of terms of patterns. Now, we had a wedge which did break, retest, and then fail towards the downside, actually getting the full measured move of this wedge towards the downside here. Maybe I should show that by actually drawing in the other line and doing that just now. So this has happened, and it's historical at this stage. So we've done it and kind of then some. Now, could we go on further down, etc.? Well, where are we right now in terms of this the most recent potential for patterns? Let's just try and identify one. That's classic Peter Brandt there, with my failure to be able to manipulate the cursor on TradingView properly. There you go, Peter Brandt fans, drop me a like if you see that. Are we in this situation right now where we've potentially broken out of a wedge? Well, I would hesitate to say no, looking at this area here and comparing it with the volume and saying, frankly, it's just not quite enough. In fact, let me just change the screen over to the bigger version. How about that? How about that? Well, just scroll in, keep my sexy face on screen, and look in here. So are we there yet? Are we there yet, Mom and Dad? Are we there yet? Not quite in terms of this pattern. That's not really that fantastic looking in terms of the volume signature for what we have here. Are we actually operating inside of a channel at the minute? Now, this is what he'll actually be looking at, or a wedge, in fact, or something along those lines. Then maybe that's what we're looking at here. And So have we got channel, or is it even wedging? The distinction is really kind of almost moot at this point. Now we could be looking towards the top side. Ultimately, what Peter would be saying is that there's no real way of knowing. A couple little targets then instead for us in that sense would be that the next 3 targets towards the top side, bearing in mind the most recent highs and lows and this retrace over the last couple of weeks here, is up towards the 1272 at 64, the 1414 at 66, and the 1618 at 71. And really, I think if between these 3 at the minute, the one that's got more things pointing to it elsewhere, which I'll not go into in detail in this show today here for you, but we've spoken about in the past, is going to be in it around about that 66 level, okay, 67 perhaps. So that's going to be our target source topside if we do break out. Let's bear in mind that we could come on down the way here towards the lower end of it, and that would offer up for you your potential next best buy over the next wee while, coming in at around about 42 grand again, if that were to be the case. Now at this stage, if we drop on down the way, clearly, as evidenced by this chart, we'd be below the 18 period moving exponential moving average. That'd be worth bearing in mind with regards to your analysis, because of course the tentative recoveries in this area would then need to break not only the 18 period exponential moving average, but then every other sort of artifice on the chart at that point too, stacking up the story against you slightly at that point. Risk to reward though, you'd be managing your trades in it around about this with a decent enough risk to reward profile on that one for you. You can do that using this tool here. That's a short at the minute. But anyhow, what we would be looking at then as well, actually this was going to be an exclusively Peter Brandt episode. It was going to be 2 episodes, Peter Brandt and a Rocky one. I'm just going to merge them actually. Let's bring up some oscillators here and say that yes, of course, we're bearishly divergent across on the RSI, on the Wells Wilder on the Wells Wilders here, the RSI and the DMI, we've got that divergence. Yes, we're coming in here for a potential cross, but we're not there yet, and we have crossed positively. And in fact, the truth of it is, that we stand here on the precipice of some positive price action that could carry the prices up to those higher targets. It's just that there is still a body of work for us to get through in the meantime, and it's not like we're in the midst or the throes of that wonderful upward rise currently. That could happen fairly soon. Of course, it could happen over the period of the next few days, really, if we're looking at this really. But we're in this period where we could actually enter a phase of chop. Now, entering a phase of chop at this stage is maybe the ideal outcome compared to completely, absolutely capitulating in the market, right? But let's see if we can recover towards the top side. The stochastics here with this little sort of question mark going on, they've not crossed, okay, they're still potentially there, but looking up the way, 3-day stochastics, they're pointing down, okay? They're maybe about to cross back up. It's not happened yet, right? It's not happened yet. It's the positivity is just not there yet. You get in the picture here. You get the picture at the minute. But then jump down towards the 4-hour time frame, and what we're going to see will, of course, naturally pushing right up towards the top side. So you're starting to get the picture here, starting to put the picture together. Hopefully you are at home. Let me know in the comments down below this video if there is something missing from this technical analysis that I'm doing right here, right now for you. Perhaps what's missing is simple things like the fact that we've, of course, recaptured the neutral line on the RSI, and we're above the exponential moving average here on the 4-hour time frame, and that looks good. But of course, the same can't be said for these larger time frames that we're looking at. So maybe those things are missing. Maybe what's missing for you is me telling you without any sort of sense of needing to use your own brain how to enter and exit the market at this point. Boohoo, I guess you're going to have to learn yourself, right? Because it's all information's in here, especially if you're paying attention during it. Right, cool, that'll do. Drop the mic, fuck it. Do we want to do any more on it? Yeah, actually, let's edit that bit out and pretend it never happened. Hey, and we look down towards the low time frames here. We can see that there is actually a good case to be made for the tentative price rise that we're experiencing now to perhaps continue on up the way. Although, of course, we have got this little, we've got a little bit. It's not doing that well just yet, but if this can continue, great, and then that'll bleed up the charts. That would be nice to see. Things that are missing from this potentially at the minute are an acknowledgement of the hidden bullish divergence that we had in the past, and an acknowledgement of the bearish divergence that we experienced with the no, it's not bearish divergence on the 1-hour time frame. What am I saying here? No, we came up here without bearish divergence on the MACD. That's good to see, and subsequently that's not actually a higher high, so we're doing all right here on that front. Stretch this out a bit. I know what it's like watching these things on YouTube and you can't see the candles and you're like, what's going on? Why? What else do we want to talk about in terms of this one? Let's stick on another moving average because it's always good to see if they've crossed over, etc. And as you can see, actually, here's a pop these on that it's actually, tell you what, let's just do this instead. Let's have the 18 period, the 54 period exponential moving averages on, the 50 simple and the 200 simple on as well, and take a look at a couple of different perspectives. This is, of course, a golden cross here. We're between the two moving averages. We need to break the 50 to go up towards the top side. That's the 1 hour time frame. As you can see, therefore, not much of a surprise that we're in here looking at the 200 skyrocketing towards the top side as the 50 sinks down the way. You know, could we see a period like this happen, which simply just gives us a bit of volatility before we carry towards the top side? You know, bear traps and bull traps along the way. This was a bull trap over here at the end of January. Or are we looking, are we not going to see that? That's kind of what to look out for yourself. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen, you crazy cats. Then as well, in terms of the two other moving averages, look out for these. Are the exponential moving averages? Are we getting across here on these ones as well? We're about to see this. If we can see across here, you could take a trade off the back of that, perhaps towards the top side. Be a bit risky. Movements down the way here give this an impression of a sort of head and shoulders event here in the small time frames on this section, but I'd probably actually be tempted to look at this overall with a look towards this and say, are we actually experiencing head and shoulders in this area? If you want to be pattern trading about this on the 4 hour time frame, there's your shoulder, there's your head, there's your shoulder. They've got no volume increase on the right hand side, so it's not particularly great. We do have a descending volume throughout the signature. This volume signature on this one descends throughout, so that is, of course, your key component here with the head and shoulders, but we're not seeing anything quite yet. But of course, we want to see this volume strike up the way if we make a breakout on this one. Okay, and potential for hidden bullish divergence here in the 4 hour time frame. Yes, indeed, with this previous low. Okay, cool, nice one. That's more than enough. That's more than enough, right? Let's jump over to the live chat thing just before I end this episode and see if anybody wrote anything rude on the screen. That would be awful. I don't want to see that happen, but let's just check it out anyway. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little spooked. Ooh, I wonder what you're a little spooked about. Cool. Hit like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next live show. Hey. So that'll be the live clip for Bitcoin, right? It just merged the two. I can't be bothered doing two videos, right? I've never seen the parabolic trend curve. Who else tell you about this shit? Nobody really talks about these things very much. It's sort of it's a Peter Brand type thing. Hathaway Capital have also got one themselves, but it's much more spooky. It's along the lines of geometric stuff. Check it out. You can look it up on YouTube yourself. There's a guy that talks about it. He uses some platform called Optima, and he talks all about it. It's actually really quite intriguing, really, to be honest, with the geometry. The Opus Dei Da Vinci Code technical analysis, you know, and you can find some interesting stuff in there. Is it a little bit kind of like? Is it like? Well, no. It's a lot of layers on top of what is the same thing that we're looking at anyway. When someone draws out a whole load of layers and says these ratios, etc., 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 and then ultimately points towards a previous low market structure and says this is where we're going to find support by drawing it across the chart, it looks like geometric magic, when in actual fact it's a really detailed discussion of market structure and the general sort of movements in the market. So you'll find a lot of people who talk about harmonics kind of are over elaborating in terms of just simply talking about Fibonacci retracements, or indeed in this instance market structure, trend lines, and areas to look into. However, it is interesting. It's worth looking at. It's worth looking at if you want to look at it. Now, you're not going to find Hathaway trading parabolic trend curve thing on TradingView. I guess they just think it's BS, or they haven't made one yet. It'll be the greatest thing ever when they do make one, or something like that. Pretty sure you don't get the tool on this thing. Anyway, yeah, cool. Right. Spending way too much time on Bitcoin. All right, shit. Fair enough. Sorry, Todd. I'm only spending too much time on the only asset which is actually worth looking at. Let's just do a quick bit of research to satisfy Todd over here, folks. Let's just do Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin. What about my thumbnail, by the way? 10 out of 10. Fantastic thumbnail. 49,000 views on that video for that. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Let's just type in Ethereum here and see 14k views on that one. Let's just go on to the next one that I'm going to be doing, Chainlink. Let's see 1.7k views, and then let's go on to the last one, Tezos, and do 2.7k views. So there you go. Spending a bit too much time on the thing that the world, let's face it, the only thing the world is actually interested in. Bit of a mistake on my part. Let's jump back over to the charts and do exactly that. Take a look at Ethereum. Now, continuing on with the Peter Brand chat, by the way, just want to show you this. He was looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing and talking about this. Right now I'm going to hide all my drawings for now, just and point at the charts in general. See this area here, this is like a shoulder. Oh, whoops. This is like a shoulder, this is like a head, this is like a shoulder, right? This is then like a neckline, right? Okay, and then this is of course the move up outside of it. Cool. Pardon me, a little bit of looking like the volume was increasing as we were doing that. Great. Nice. As you can see, the volume average is going up. No massive shocking candles, but something in there. And but what do we actually see is having happened over here on this one? Well, of course, the prices have cracked back down again, which means that at the point at which Peter Brandt would have got into changing his portfolio over from being mostly Bitcoin weighted to mostly Ethereum weighted would have happened somewhere in about this zone, and then of course he would have instantly regretted that decision if he actually continued and went ahead with his analysis from that chit chat. But worth pointing out, and of course as well, these things do have their own significance. We know the fact of the matter is that we've come up and we've pushed past this level. Now we're coming back down and retesting here a key area, a 618 Fibonacci retracement golden pocket zone and beyond. So you know we've potentially got these things in store for us. It's kind of failed though, really, to be honest with you, in terms of its pattern over here on the weekly time frame. Obviously, looking at this, bad month for the old Ethereum. So let's hope that Peter Brandt didn't take that trade and put all of his money into this one, because that was what his plan was, and it is clearly failed. Now, when you're looking for head and shoulders, then what's interesting stuff, as you can see here, is that as Peter didn't have, I already pointed this out on his video here, you'll notice he doesn't have his volume up on here. Let's just jump to it. He doesn't have his volume up on the chart there, as you can see. If he had had his volume up on the chart, what would he been looking at in his textbook head and shoulders? Is that of course the volume throughout this period was increasing, and it wasn't a head and shoulders really in that sort of textbook, in the textbook meeting all criteria type of point of view. Incidentally as well, there's areas where it looks a little bit like you could have head and shoulders type movement in the run up, inverse head and shoulders, by the way, throughout this whole period here. It could look like that, but you're kind of pushing that one a little bit. What I like to see when I see head and shoulders, if you want to go for something ideal, is to have had a head and shoulders operating between on the RSI down below on the previous chunk of it. So like the head and shoulders could, if it's visible there at the point where you're looking at the head, then nice one. That's probably worth looking into. Incidentally, no point bringing this up without pointing out this thing though, which is what is a head and shoulders on the RSI, and we're looking here and saying, well, if we push down past these areas, potential for a breakout towards the downside for us. And what we're seeing is of course that there. Now there isn't a head and shoulders here in terms of on the look at that. Look at that. I'll cover that in a second. There isn't really one here in terms of this chart, unless you're to look at real Quasimodo sideways upward sloping head and shoulders without the volume trigger. It's not on the price chart, just saying it's there on the RSI. It might be worth taking a little think about that in terms of the bigger term picture. Will Ethereum then therefore itself do very well? That was a little donation from Swisher V Baby. Extreme technical analysis by Rocky. Thank you so much. Leave this one with you for the weekend. Gives you a little bit of something to look into as well, doesn't it? If you want to go off and think, well, what was Rocky talking about? And watch that video by a guy who's widely respected across the world for having had decades of highly successful trading as a very, very, very good trader. Peter Brandt, there you go. I mean, like, don't take my word for it type of chat. But you can check that out if you want to. Now, what were we talking about with regards to Ethereum? What were we talking about recently? Well, we talked about a couple of things about how it's slightly weak here, how we hadn't actually managed to make up towards the 50% retracement point. We compared this to Bitcoin the other day, and we said how Bitcoin had managed managed to do it, but of course it sloped down the way. In fact, the other day when talking about things, I said we wouldn't want to see the price of Bitcoin going past these zones here, or else we'd want to be stopping out of trades and that and kind of reconsidering things. Now we're back in the zone where you could take that trade, and this would be what that would look like for people who are interested. Well, that analysis I did earlier on that would have made it into the clip. Now this little sort of example trade thing won't make it into that when I get rid of this here stuff, but there you go, you can see it there that we've made it back into that zone. Maybe something to think about here in terms of this potential upside trade. Now, of course, as well, we did actually, make the trade. Whatever, it all worked out fair enough for everybody who watched along. And the key component to this whole thing is: will we see the prices really staying above or below this liquidity zone just here, really for us, just below? And you can see I lined this up to say, look, I don't even want to spend any time in here, because if we do, not good. Even in full acknowledgement of the fact that we could come back up. However, what we see right now is that we're above the 382, below the 50%. We did make up towards the 618. It was just a profit taking zone where the prices moved against you again there on that one. So that's where that is. And Ethereum, well, it did a similar sort of thing, but it kind of, the writing was on the wall a little bit sooner, with it failing to get up past the 50%. It just came up to the 50%, pulled back down again. Where has it been since? Well, it's come all the way down to the 236, tested it, not managed to open and close and really get momentum down below here, although this looked very, very bad at the time, I'm sure, for folk when that was happening. But we've not done it since, and this is of course the construction of this Fibonacci is derived from this low here at the 1300 area. So that is what now is when we have that 236 on the go there. Previously to it, of course, this was a 236. We pushed down past it, and then we did get a subsequent movement on down the way. If you traded at any point in here on this candle with the failure of the 236, you could have carried it all the way down for a 16% move, but you could have easily taken 10% off the table there with that structure at that time. But now where we are is here. Okay, in fact, this probably should have been the Ethereum bit should probably have. That's pretty good. That whole section could have made it into a snippet for the folks back home, but whatever. Screw them, eh? Screw them. What do we say? What do we say about the folks back home? Screw the folks back home. That's what we say. That's what we say about the folks back home. And anyhow, well, here we have the price action. It's got this hammer candle here. It's pretty crap. Let me actually just bring up let's just zoom on in here a wee bit for folks, so you can see it a bit clearer. That's not so great. Okay, we're right here at a point which is obviously a key area, haven't been identified before, that 1550 price point. Now, this is what we were talking about the other day, all the enthusiasm. We were saying, yes, it's great to be above 1550. Well, we're here and it's not really happening for us quite yet, and that's the state of play that we're in now. In terms of looking at this from broad perspective and the weekly time frame, etc., I'll just try and make this line up a bit so you can see it on the screen here for you at home. Nice big move up towards the top side. You can draw another one of those parabolic trend efforts in here, etc., and all that sort of stuff, and you can see going up the way we're above the 18 period exponential moving average. All these spread out nicely. Actually isn't a 200 period exponential moving average on this, because it's not old enough on this chart for that yet. On the weekly, Ethereum's still too young an asset for that, which is a little bit of a tidbit for anybody, a little bit of advice for people. We're still dealing with very, very, very nascent assets. We had this golden cross back over here. That date, by the way, is the 11th of May 2020 on the 24-hour time frame. That's right, we actually crossed on the 7th of May or whatever, and I haven't looked back since. So Ethereum's been fantastic, and that's why it's catching the eye of normally sort of Bitcoin maximalists, you could say, like Peter Brandt himself. Now, he actually isn't a Bitcoin maximalist. Peter Brandt's more than happy to say that at some point in the future it could be technology which outstrips Bitcoin in terms of its offering. But there you have it anyway. There you have it. Anyhow, he did a funny troll the other day on people on Twitter. I laughed about that. I might share it on the channel. Yeah, cool. So so weekly time frame. Was it on the weekly a second ago? It was on the weekly a second ago. Yeah, cool. We're doing okay here. Really strong trend. Key points for me is I don't want to see this going below 30. I don't want to see this green line. If you had it at home, it might be yellow or whatever. The DMI that I use, right? I've changed the colors on it, but the code's out there. changing the colors is so easy. You just choose them from the color jobby. If I want to see this green line, which is the D positive, staying above 30 here on this one, that's what I want to see for us to be able to continue this here. Breaking down below 30 at the same time as having this negativity in the price point would probably coincide with breaking past 24-hour time frame for this one. And probably, oh wait, you couldn't see the DMI. Oh, I'll have to go back to the other zoom level. I'm too silly. The big me one. So anyway, I don't want to see the green line here on the weekly time frame dropping below 30, right? That's what I was talking about there with the DMI. 24-hour time frame, obviously negative, right? 4-hour time frame, it's positive cross. Look at this though, the ADX itself has just turned white for me, right? It's just turned white. There's absolutely no strength of trend. This positive cross is a false, if you like, a false positive, okay? And that's funny because in the 4-hour time frame we've got a death cross and we've just come back up to retest the 50. Now what could happen here for us is that we see a nice test up here towards the 200 period simple moving average on the 4-hour time frame. That would make a lot of sense to me. Of course, that currently stands as a nice 7.77% move towards the top side. If that were to happen, what would we be looking at potentially in this structure just here? It's maybe a bit easier to see if we leave the drawings off. Shoulder, head, shoulder, that would be nice, neckline, etc. Now, these fail 60% of the time, these patterns, just so you know, it's like future weather reports. You're almost better just counter trading them. You know, statistically speaking, if every time you saw a head and shoulders or an inverse head and shoulders, you decided that you were just going to counter trade the thing, you'd probably statistically, you could use a mathematical proof to say that you'd make more money. In reality, you probably wouldn't. But there you have it, and that could see us coming up towards this price point. So what am I looking at here? I would say profit taking happening at around about 1660 is very, very, very likely at the minute. Even if we then crack on up the way. If we do crack on up the way, then what I'm looking for, I suppose, might as well draw on a sort of measured move off the back of this inverse head and shoulders, taking that up just towards the 200 period simple moving average, popping it onto the 200 period simple moving average, because that is of course where our neckline is. We take us back up towards this area. What is that? It's a previous high. That would be coming in for a doubly top perhaps, you know, which could signal something in terms of the end of that positivity. It could develop into sort of cup with handle type idea for continuation towards the top side, which would at this stage, by the way, be coming up towards $2,000, then come up towards $2,000, not actually there, take profit beforehand. Then what we would see is a drop back down towards 1666 or something like that, and then we could carry on towards the top side. Okay, that would be that's kind of like your longer term prediction, if you like, for the technical analysis, if you like, because I certainly don't. Long-term subscribers here know that I hate people suggesting that there's anything like predicting in the market. So we've had this golden pocket retrace. Will we continue towards the top side? Well, it's hard to say. Obviously, it is actually impossible to predict the future, but that's what I'm looking at right now. It's, funnily enough, I did mention this with regards to the 4-hour lack of volatility here. Just going back in time and looking at other times in the past when we've had this happen to us. Just over here, for instance, we had a big volatility event happen, you know, so there was essentially, this isn't used as a volatility indicator. Let me be very, very clear that that a lot of people could tune into this right now and see me talking about this and say, this guy's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, the DMI isn't a volatility indicator. However, it's a sort of darkest before the dawn volatility indicator. The strength of trend, the inverse of a strength of trend, where there's, or, you know, and it's just where it's completely gone away and there's absolutely no strength in the market, puts you in a sort of something's got to give territory. Now, volatility is price movement at its most simplest perspective. But what I like to talk about is how at the end, when you see this box here, this is a killer indicator for people, by the way. You can get it for free, or you can donate to the channel by doing that. I'll get round to that, Dan Anthony, in a second, by the way. Little thing coming up here for everybody, for everybody to enjoy the wee bling in a second. I'll get around to that in a minute, Dan. Here, I so often talk about this, about how that it's not intuitive, okay? I'm not going to go into explaining it in detail at all for anybody right now. But what you can see is at the end of these zones, where the white part ends, that so often the price comes back to where it was. then. Now, we don't have a white box on here, and you're actually free to edit this yourself. Like I say, this is an adjustment to the DMI indicator, invented in 1977 by J. Wells Wilder Wellington Boots Jr. And you can change this yourself if you like to have a different tolerance on your background on the white thing. Now, I've chosen these numbers myself based on the frequency of it working more or less itself, but you're absolutely able to change it. So if I just change this up to 13, you can see that we're actually in here already. Going back, you can see there's a few more of them. And over here, this ends. The prices, where did they come back down to? Look at that. This ends, this white zone ended here. Where did the prices come back down to? Over here. Look at that. So that's a little bit that sort of, oh, that spooky type technical analysis that you see around the world. Not that it's going to lead to 50,000 subscribers on this channel anytime soon, but nevertheless, there you go, and you can get that indicator for free, or indeed donate to the channel if you like to, by going to gumroad.com/rocky.outcrop. This is, of course, just the DMI stylized to make it so it's easier for you to see, right? And I've added this volatility zone level for us, right? I'm putting that back down to level 11 on mine. So it's not there right now. However, my whole chit chat around about the head and shoulders kind of applies to that. Now I have to take that actual proper technical analysis and turn it into some sort of meme technical analysis for the world, okay? For the clip, right? So I'll just drop a stream marker in here. Oh wait, no, sorry, get back to here. Why did that not show up on screen? Oh, I mustn't have a thing on here for that. Mustn't have set up my Streamlabs right for that. Let me go back to the main screen, right? And then run that alert again. So I get Dan Anthony's name up on screen here. Really? Come on, load up the alert thing. Load up K-Mac. Nice. You're the first person I've seen doing this so close to home. Oh my God, where are you? I wonder where you are. Is it going to turn out that you're living up on like Shandwick Terrace or something like that? Wouldn't it be hilarious if it turned out I guessed your address? Right. Eesh. Funny that. Go on, replay. Boom! Check it out. Your thoughts on market cipher crypto face software? Is it overrated? Right. Couple of things. I never watched that person, that human being who deserves all the respect that all human beings deserve in terms of like the rights assigned to human beings to deserve respect from other people. He deserves all of that, okay? Whether he deserves anything above and beyond that, I couldn't really comment. I know that he's basically a walking, talking meme. I know that he puts out loads of crap all the time. Yeah, it's overrated, right? It's overrated. It's overrated. Now, what is it? God, it's again, right? Brilliant example of somebody for no reason. Really, come on, think about it. What reason is there that for him to have called it the cipher thing? Like, I mean, how many ciphers does trading want to have? Like, you got cipher patterns, you got cipher this, cipher. Why can we only have 10 words, ladies and gentlemen? Why? Why does trading only have a couple of words that are reused again and again and again and again to describe everything? I don't know. Right? I don't know. Right, anyhow, about his thing, is it overrated or not? I honestly don't know, because I've never used it, but I'm pretty sure there's fakies for it, right? There's fakies, is there not? And if anybody's got a name for a fake one, then we could look it up, right? But there's like, when anybody puts out a custom indicator, someone comes along, how do you spell cipher again? And makes one. Crypto face software, yeah. Cipher, C-Y-P-H-E-R. Let's just see what we've got for cipher, C-Y-P-H-E-R. Cipher core trading suite, no. Cipher pattern ultra V1, no. Cipher core trading suite, no. Buy and sell cipher crypto signals +1. Thomas Mark. What is that? Let's add that to the charts. Is this going to be like his one? Is it going to be it? So it's an indicator down below, right? Where is it? I thought I added that. Where is it? I'm hiding it and showing it. Can anybody else see it appearing on the charts? Delete that. Let's just have a quick look and see on Google for what's it called? Crypto face market cipher copy code. Let's just do that. Oh, look at this. There's always, I mean, the guy's got millions of followers in that, right? So there's probably some. How to get it free? Let's just see. So I can try and see, because I've never really used it much. Are you using things for trading? Just let me know in the comments. So many versions, man. Which one is better? The Market Liberator free version, Vumanchu. CryptoFace has a sale on. So the thing about CryptoFace is that he's not like me, right? He's not going to sit there and say, this is the DMI indicator, and I've customized it using these visual things, but it's essentially the same, and I'm going to explain how it works, blah, blah, blah. I'll make an hour-long video explaining the DMI. I'll go on it, I put my faith in something which is like developed by people 40 years ago or more, and all that, and I'll be honest about what I'm making here, and I'll tell you that it's about there, and it's available if you want to download it just with a contribution or zero. If you want to put in zero, you can get it for free. Whereas what he'll do is he'll sell it for loads, right? He sells it for loads, doesn't he? Like $1,000 or something. Selling market cipher, it looks interesting, does give you additional benefits from these free versions. Also found this post on Reddit which claims to have actual source code of market cipher. What do you think? Let's go to that one. Actual source code. Ba-dum-bam, ba-dum-bam, ba-da-bam, ba-da-ba-dam, ba-da-bam, ba-dam, ba-dam, ba-bam, ba-da-bam, ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam. Ba-dam-bam. This is Vumanchu, so it's not it. So in fact, can I just go Vumanchu here? Ba-dam-bam. Ba-da-dam, ba-da-da-dam. Ba-da-dam, ba-dam, ba-dam. Ba-da. Ba-da-ba. Oh, it's on the charts, is it? I think, right, sound. By the way, let's just cipher so everybody can know. A secret or disguised way of writing a code. A zero, a figure zero. He put a message into secret writing in code. Do arithmetic. That's what cipher means, by the way, for people who didn't know. It's the indicator which has basically got no name, just trying to make it sound cool. So anything that works like that has got instant D-trust levels from me. Might as well throw out a quick disclaimer and say that, of course, the RSI isn't an index, and neither is the DMI. It's not an index really either. So like, I have to qualify what I'm saying, but I'm going to forgive J. Wells Wilder Jr. for using words that are not entirely accurate to describe something, as opposed to market CryptoFace, who's just trying to make it seem cool and stuff. What the fuck does it do anyway? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't swear so much. Get rid of my moving averages so they're not covering stuff up. I don't know why I decided to hide all of them. So what were we talking about? This is Ethereum chart, right? So we've got my analysis I just did there a wee while ago, and you've got this thing. I mean, what I wanted to talk about as well here at the minute was this hidden bullish divergence. Sorry, visible bullish divergence, not hidden, visible bullish divergence between these two lows, which led to this rise up. Market structure wise, we haven't taken out this high. It's the psychology behind the head and shoulders right there anyway, as described, using divergences to make the same point combined with market structure, right? It's the same fundamental point is what head and shoulders as a phrase describes. We're seeing it there. By the head, did the head and shoulders already happen as it happens on this one? I wouldn't say so, not really. Doesn't matter. That's just a little coincidence I like to look for. How does this thing work? Wait, have you got it right? Let me just see. Let's just go back to the chat here to see what people are chatting about, because I need your assistance on this one. Okay, I bet Rocky is a multimillionaire, but it's just really humble guy. Aha, lol, it's expensive. I'm not a multimillionaire, don't worry about it. AF Karimi, use the VWC cipher. Alright, cool. Oh, by the way, it's good to see you, by the way, Karimi, my friend. Drewstek says, check if you're on top chat. Oh, God, no, I'm on live chat. I'm on live chat. Yeah, for everybody else, check that. So, okay, and VWC cipher B. Cool, okay, we'll come back to that. We'll look at these two in a second, right? Sorry, it's VMC cipher. That's what I look for. That'll be Vumanchu. That'll be what I just put on, probably, right? Anyway, Kaimak version, welcome to the crew. SB, express thyself freely, Rocky. Thanks, SB. Nice to see you, by the way. Wow, there's a dislike. Todd Schultz must really want to get onto those altcoins. Fucking Todd. keeping his spiders in jars, coming along and asking me to look at stuff. Yeah, Edinburgh's going well tonight. Well, that's well, I mean, that's why. It's because Kaimak is out there murdering folk. AFCreamy, you need to use both Cypher A and Cypher B together. Oh, beautiful. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for the instruction on that one. Let's just see, right, in terms of it. Well, I can't tell you from experience using this thing, but I can use my experience to tell you what I think about this thing over the next couple of minutes together. How about that? That's decent enough, right? That's decent enough. In fact, let's just make it a video, right? Try and help grow the stream a bit. Hi friends, are you interested in Crypto Faces Market Cypher? Well, I am, but I'm not going to pay for it. I'm going to add these other ones that are basically the same thing that somebody else made, Fu Manchu, something like that. And we're going to then look back at the price action for a couple of assets and see if it's been any good for using or not. Like I say, never really used this one before, but I am an experienced trader. My name's Rocky Outcrop. I hope you decide to come back for a video sometime. If you look down there, you can see this is during a live stream. I will be relying on the instructions from my wonderful community to explain how to actually use this thing when we add it to the charts. Right, okay, cool, but we can probably figure that part out ourselves. Thanks for joining me. Let's take a look at this Crypto Face Cypher thing. So, I've been informed by AFCreamy that I need to use both Cypher A and Cypher B together. So that's cool. So I can show you how you add this thing to your chart. You go in there and you search for Fu Manchu, right? Is that what it was? Aye, Fu Manchu, and then you add A and B to your chart. Now, this has got divergences as well. That's interesting to see that divergences are a part of this thing. I'm not sure actually which one I've added already, so I'll just go ahead and remove the one I've added from my charts. This is Ethereum chart that I've got open behind me at the minute, by the way, 4-hour Ethereum chart. And I'll make it pretty. There you go. Oh, so pretty. And I'll add both of those things to this one, right? So Fu Manchu, it's like that. It's like that. There you go. There's your freebie. And then you add that one and you add that one. Did they both add? Let me just verify that they both added. Down here on this VMC Market Cypher A. Don't think I got B. So you have to do that process again. But you're glad you tuned in to this video, folks, hey? Just kidding. So there's B down. Oh, I did have it down the bottom. Right. So you got one down the bottom and you've got one at the top. Right, cool. So you need to use both of them together. AFCreamy, you got any more instructions for me on this one, or should I just figure it out from here myself? I've heard about 3 ambulances now, lol. Do you live in a rough area? Lol. No, I don't. If you want to know where I live, just go onto Google Maps, type in Edinburgh, the pin comes up, that's where I live. Right, Kaimak. Ah, brilliant. Thanks so much. Really do appreciate it. So, yeah, right. What are we talking here? So he uses atomic number. Yeah, I use atomic numbers on my thingy. So AFCreamy, I need you to supply me with some instructions. Let's take a look at it now ourselves, though, right? Let's see if there's any hidden information. This, to me, just off the bat, looks like a string of EMAs. It looks like the EMA reborn that our friend Carl the Moon loves so very, very, very much. So it looks like that to me, a string of EMAs. That's interesting. I wonder if we bring up the options. Yep, it's EMAs. Here we have them. It doesn't let you change the number. It's just a whole string of them. Kaimak. There you go. There's the thing. Becoming a member. Fantastic. Cheers for that. So yeah. So what we've got more instructions here. The B shows potential buys or bottoming or topping. Cool. So the B's down the bottom, and it shows potential buys or bottoming or topping. So let's just bring up full screen. We've got a green dot here. It's a green dot. Got a blue dot here. Blue dots here. Blue dots. Red dots. So. 4 hours, not great. I mean, I'll just look at it on the 24-hour time frame, so it kind of smooths things out a little bit for us first off, right? Because I don't want to have so many signals coming in, making me blind. So here, a little sell signal, interesting, right? Orange, or is that like a I don't know what orange means. I guess orange probably, if I made this thing, would be like there's your buy signal. Orange means tentatively look out to maybe have to close it. Don't reinvest or something. What is all this stuff? WT wave 1, WT wave 2, VWAP. There's a VWAP on here. Where's that part? That's that part, right? RSI MFI area is just a dot. This is not going to cut it as a video for folk back home. It isn't, right? It it's too slow so far already, isn't it? Stochastic K, stochastic D. So so we've taken lots of different indicators and shoved them onto the one. Cool. Right, so you've got bearish divergence being shown on the thing. Well, that's something that we always look to anyway. We see it ourselves. I don't think that that's necessary on another indicator, but there you have it there. Bearish divergence is pointed out between those two, which we can see it's not actually RSI. So RSI. So let's just see how do a wee health check on this one and see if so it's between that high and that high. There's bearish divergence. He's done it between the 6th of February and the 21st of February. 21st of February is up there at that high. 6th of February is over here at this high. That wasn't two distinct highs. There you go. There's a little bit of a failing in the indicator there, in the sense that you're looking at bearish. It's not. I mean, okay, maybe you could make a case for it. But essentially, this is all one high. There's no. You would need to have a low in between, would you not? You probably would. Whereas, in actual fact, there was the actual divergence on this was actually visible between the high over here and the high here. But I'm making the same mistake there. But at least between these points here, I can at least say, well, look, we did see a 33% drop off in price. So I'd say that probably was a high, and that probably was a high thereafter. But between the 6th of February and later, did we see any highs really coming in here? Really, you could maybe say that sort of 10% drop off in price. Structurally, and the look of the thing, it isn't though. It's debatable. I'm not gonna pull hairs about it, split hairs about it. What else do we have in this thing? MFI top bar. So he's just using a bunch of different divergence indicators, or money flow. MFI stands for money flow index, and that is essentially it's like a momentum indicator where you can look for divergences. Shaft trend cycles as well. Overbought, right, oversold. So he's just shoved everything onto the one. Trying to shove everything onto the one on the one chart. So is it overrated? Well, yeah, it is. because it's a combination of all these. It's not invented anything new here so far by the looks of things. It's about so whatever. That's cool. Show MACD colors. Yeah, show the MACD colors. No, don't show the MACD colors. So it's got the MACD in there as well. Oh, that's what that middle chunk is the MACD histogram. Let's just compare that together. MACD histogram here. It's just essentially the market cipher has done this. Go to my RSI here, right? And I'll right click on my RSI, and then I'll go where does it say it? I wanted to go move to, oh yeah, hit the arrow. Oh no, that changes it up. I was going to overlap them. I can't. Can I just drag it on like that? I can't I? Just drag it on like that. So he's got the it's kind of must be changing it somehow, because it doesn't line up with my own MACD. Then again, it's a scaling thing. Whatever. Anyway, right. Let me just summarize this before I even look at the charts. In order to fully understand what's going on with CryptoFace's market cipher, you really need to understand the individual components of what's in there. And fortunately, I understand a lot of them. Yay! Would I want to naturally then actually take them all and shove them onto the one indicator to combine them together? Not massively. However, it isn't that massively distinct from what you'll find with a lot of other indicators out there, along the lines of like Crowns, Crypto Jewel, etc. Stuff like that. It's a combination of what's technologies, if you like, already exist out there. Anyhow, right? So I've gone and made a mess on the charts here. What is this thing? What is this thing? What is it? That's my RSI. Where's the RSI? Ah, that's better. So yeah, okay. I don't know. Then we're looking here and we're saying bunch of moving averages, some sort of cloud structure. What have we got inside this thing? Put the RSI on the actual chart. That's what he's gone and done as well, even though it's on down below as well. Alright, so I just broke it by changing those two. Interesting. Cancel. it's just taken a lot. It's cool and everything. It's good. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. It is what it is. It's a combination of lots of indicators into the one thing, repeated as well a couple of times, just to make it so that it's really all really definitely in there, and that and then it points out things like potential zones for divergences. We talk about them anyway, and then we analyze the whys and the wheres for them. It's kind of more deconstructed on my charts than it is using this sort of thing. Is there any point in keeping this calling it cipher? Not really. It kind of just makes it confusing, because that's like a secret code, and really it's not a secret code at all. It's all these known things together combined, and it isn't a cipher really. And what we're looking at here is that there is this signal telling us that we could go short on this one, I suppose, while we have this conflicting signal, I suppose, if that was a buy down there, saying that we could go long on this one. So then we have the orange dot just here at the same time as we're getting this red dot. I guess that's probably a function of that conflict inherently in there, and it boils down to the same sort of analysis that I've already given already, except I think that my analysis, where I'm looking at it saying bullishly divergent into the head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frames as we cross over the 50 exponential period moving average, with a view to going up and testing the 200 period moving average, at which point we'll be at a neckline of head and shoulders, which has a 60% chance of failing, or at least pulling back from that point there. Then the next area up from that being $2,000, whereafter we could actually pull back down to 1,600 again afterwards as well. If we were then to see the moving averages cross over the way, that might all happen around about the same sort of time, where we can see things continue on afterwards. And explaining it using the individual components down below at the time is probably wiser, right? For this one, this is pointing towards the top side, the stochastics, telling us that, you know, there is a good chance that we could try up a bit here, but we've already spoken about how we're right at that point where we can see things turning around. Any given time that you actually go into entering a trade, there's always a degree of sort of having to take that risk and choose, like, what direction am I going to go on, and choose your reasons for it. Jumping down towards the 4-hour time frame, this just kind of underlines well, is that a buy signal? Yeah, buy signal on a 4-hour time frame, a sell signal on a 24-hour time frame. A little bit confusing when you force the issue with that and you make it so it's like you have to say which way you'd go. I've already explained it, and explained it from a broader point of view, and then whatever mechanism you use to actually get in and out of trading yourself is probably fine. I don't think I'm doing you justice, Dan Anthony, with your question, because I didn't, because the easy, simple answer to your question was I don't know, but I'm trying to know over here. I'm trying to know for us with this one. This has got a blue arrow at the top. What does blue arrow mean? What's he calling blue arrow? He's calling it blue triangle. Oh, so blue triangle is the blue triangle bit, right? Cool. Okay, so I guess you need to know that's your cipher element there in terms of just vague stuff. But long EMA signal, short EMA signal, red and green, etc. Yeah, I mean, the moving averages, they look to be crossing over. If I just put my own moving averages back on, like TradeSpot said earlier on, I use the atomic covalent bond numbers in my moving averages currently. Oh yeah, I forgot. I hid them all. Just look at this, you know. So let me just show you the comparison of moving averages type of thing. So I use a few different moving averages. You can see the yellow and the green crossing over each other, the 8 and the 18 period. You know, that is something in and of itself. You can see then here that the 18 obviously lines up perfectly with one of these. The 8 period is right in the middle of that other zone over there. So you can see this is like 18. That'll be like, what will that be, like 16? That'll be like 20. That'll be 22. That'll be 24. Whatever. It's just a stupid ribbon of averages. And then up here you can see I've got the 54, which is beyond that. The highest this goes up to in terms of this thing will be about 30. About 30 or something like that. So it's not a very long period of moving averages. Doesn't really like give you any sort of distinction between short and long, which is essentially what you're saying is that most of these lines are redundant. Yes, that's essentially what I'm saying, is that most of the lines are redundant. That's the same with any sort of ribbon of moving averages where they're all right next to each other anyway. I mean, personally myself, when I'm talking about and I've got all my moving averages on screen, I think, God, it's overwhelming for people. How could they look at so many different moving averages and cope with it? Whereas, you know, this this thing here is the same thing, but it makes it redundant. You know, the brain part redundant. And it lulls you into thinking that you're doing something you aren't really. As you can see, we got a cross between the 8 and the 18 here, and now we're seeing a cross between all these other smaller moving averages. Well, sure, right? Sure, okay. So when I see the 18 period crossing over the 50 period, it's probably going to be a more significant signal to me than say the 26 period moving average crossing over the 32 period moving average. I mean, for sake. So that's my feeling when it comes to moving average ribbons. You know, they don't really do anything for you, which isn't expressed in just simply not having them on screen. So if we look at this from a broader perspective, 1 hour time frame here, but looking at it and saying, look at this, look at where the blue one was, look at where the green one was, look at where the yellow one was, and look at the ribbon that's in the background. Let me just hide that off the chart there. Obviously there's more to this than the moving averages, but you can see how we're getting all of that information from these individual lines, and it's a little bit better. So yeah, that element of it's overrated. The divergence, any indicator which draws divergence on for you is overrated, because it's a mathematical formula to do it, and it's not that worth it when you can see it yourself and make discretionary judgments about whether or not the lows are really lows or not, etc, etc. Also, you also see that I talk about things like the initial impulse up and whether that is divergent versus the last one. You have to think about what divergence really is and what it means, you know, and what momentum really is and what momentum really means, as opposed to simply boiling it down to numbers. Nevertheless, it does seem useful. It does seem like, because the elements that you use to create the thing are in and of themselves useful. As you can see, I use the MACD, I use the RSI myself. Is it any more useful than things like the DMI? Not really. Is it any more interesting than knowing that the volatility part of the DMI has dropped down and become white to the point that we could see some sort of movement that might justify something thinking forward? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'll have to leave it on here for a while. Anyway, let me just see. Rocky Outcrop always learning wants you to use your to see your moving average point periods. Cool. No problem. My moving average periods, I have brought them up a couple of times, kind of quick and by accident, but here you can see that the colors, so yellow, green, blue, pinky, red, and white, is 8, 18, 36, 54, and 50. 8, 18, 36, 54. Alright, I don't know why I did that, but I just wanted to. But you can see elements with atomic number, no. Don't know what that guy's talking about. But anyway, he's talking about this. I use those numbers, those atomic numbers. Atomic weighting numbers. I'm not a scientist, so I couldn't tell you anything more about them than that, but that's what I use on my moving averages at the minute. Why mostly is that discussion about the cipher thing would probably have revealed more about why that than that. The blue waves are momentum, the red green wave is, oh great, somebody knows something about this. Fantastic. Oh, Drew's Tech, you upgraded. I didn't even notice that. Let me just, I didn't notice that. Let me just it's not come through in my thingy either. Ah, cheers, buddy. Don't know why I didn't get a notification about that, and I can't even replay it either for us. Right, I'm with you, man. We share the same home city. Thought it was worth cancelling my Netflix membership for this one instead of self-investment. Thanks, buddy. You're right, it is. It is worth cancelling your Netflix thingy for this sort of thing. I think it is, anyway. Gherkins on a pizza? You Scots. Man, I would have gherkins on anything. On anything. The B shows about bombs are top in school. Yeah, always learning. We tested lots and lots and lots of different periods, and these ones suit best. Yeah, sure. Upgraded, true. Thank you, by the way, Drew's Tech. Really do appreciate that, Squally. I see. So it's 8, 20, 54. It's 8, 18, 18, by the way. But you can change this. I like my own preference, by the way. I use these ones, but my own preference for if I had to choose one moving average, so you put a gun to my head and said, you can't have all of these, what do you want? I would say, well, give me the 21 period moving average, right? That's my own personal choice. I've spoken about that a lot of times on the channel, but I'm using a combination of different ones. If I wanted to make this, you know, the most basic way, what I would do instead is just do it like this, Peter Brandt style, essentially. make everything else invisible, put the yellow as the 21, close all that off, take away the cipher guy, and I would say, look, we've just taken the 21 exponential period moving out on the 4-hour time frame. If we can sustain prices above that, that's really, really good. We might even come in for a test of the 21 here on the daily. That would be great as well, although I would be thinking about taking profits at that point. If, of course, we do push on past that point then and continue up, that's great, because on the 3-day time frame we've come back down and retested the 21 exponential period moving average here a few times. So obviously we're in a position where, in terms of the longer term chart, as demonstrated very clearly here in the weekly, to continue a bull market for quite a while. However, the tolerance for us to be able to say where the prices could go down and test still extend all the way down as far as $10,000 or as $1,000 really. We still are not fully past that point yet, whereby if we were to go down, well, actually no, we are. We've now arrived so high in the prices that should we go down past $1,000, you'd have serious concerns about the long-term viability of the trend. Last time we were down below there was March, etc. The last time we went down there below there organically, you could say, was over here in July 2019, and of course we spent the next 6 months sloping down the way as a result. So that price point comes in at $1,000. Wouldn't want to be holding on any longs past 1,000 with that point of view. But of course here we have the chance of coming up and testing this, and like I say then as well, looking down towards the lower term time frames, if you're looking at this and saying that we've just captured the 21 and you're looking for an entry into trying to get up towards the top side, maybe you could try and say, well, I'll just try and enter off of the retest of the 21 on the 1 hour with a view to looking at all these different things, right? That's if you put a gun to my head and you said you needed to choose one EMA, what's it going to be, how are you going to use it, that's what it would be, that's how we would use it. Okay, if you're thinking to yourself, I just want to start simple, I just want one, what would it be? And then as well, if you're looking to then add to this, then you say, well, are you really like a scalper or a short-term trader? In which case, add a second one on and make it a smaller period. Try something like the 9 period, for instance, here versus the 21, and look for crosses on this thing on a lower term time frame in order to try and take trades off the back of it. Looking over here, cross here, nice one, good money, cross here, nice one, good money, cross here, nice one, good money, cross, didn't cross, cross here, very good money, cross here, good money, cross here, good money. Okay, so there's a strategy for you as well and everything. So there you go. But having said all that, I'm currently using 8, 18, 36 and 54. That's pretty good. I think that there I probably could have made it into a clip for the old YouTubes. He's charging $1,500 for that, is he? He didn't even write any. Right, okay, so the blue waves are momentum, the red-green wave is money flow. Well, yeah, the MFI. So, right, money flow. Ooh, positive money flow. That's not really what it means. It's not really how money flow really works, but whatever. Okay, that's cool. Whatever, man. Look, the guy's successful, right? What do you want? Like, what do you, objectively, somebody could come along and say, you're a YouTuber and he's a YouTuber. He's a much more successful YouTuber than you. What are you doing? Trying to say anything negative about anything he does? And ultimately, I don't really feel like I've been that negative overall. So I'm not going to go on to become judgmental about it or anything. So just going to leave it at that. Really, overall, yeah, it's useful. It's useful for him. It's easy to maybe sell it to people because they're looking for a killer indicator where they don't need to understand any of the components to be able to just try and take trades off the back of. And if you're going to do that and you're wanting to spend $1,500 on it, I would say that the better advice would be to take that $1,500, trade using the crosses of like the 9 and 21 exponential moving average. See how you'd get on doing that. See how you get on doing that. If you feel like it's not working for you and you need to go extremely complex and also extremely unwilling to really learn anything yourself and just back off and buy an indicator, go for that. But then again, just use this free one. And yes, the yellow line is a VWAP. By the way, the VWAP is interesting when you say about VWAP. Okay, I just wonder how it's calculated, but anyway, yeah, you're right, like a VWAP volume. weighted average price is a good thing to have. Again, you know, it's just another one of these. Let me just stick the VWAP on here. Where have I got it? So hard to read their grey writing on the black background. TD, MACD, DC, Ichimoku, VWAP. There you go. Now you use the VWAP as a regression to mean indicator. When we're above it, we're going back down to it. When we're below it, we're going up to it. This is the most essentially the essential use case for the thing. It's not so much a trend indicator as much as to say where we could be going next. As you can see, it's highly unsuccessful, and a lot of the times, and you're looking at it. When you're looking at it, it can be unsuccessful for you to trade off the back of it towards the end of close on a day. Okay, so if you're trading traditional markets, it's extremely important. Also, if you're trading towards midnight Bitcoin time, then it's extremely important that you're aware of the fact that on a daily basis the VWAP itself changes. There's another choice that you can do if you really are into the idea of average prices, is that you can use an anchored. Let me just go. No, wait, it's not in there. Sorry, it's in here. You can use an anchored VWAP here, and I can say, well, look, what if I took it from that day? You know, this is where it reset because that was obviously midnight. Let me just check. Yeah, midnight. And then there's your anchored VWAP showing you the average weighted volume price over a period of days, and you can see that's just where we've come up to now. Come back up to the average. It's a regression towards the mean thing, and what purpose does it serve inside his thing? I have got no idea. I've got no idea what purpose it serves inside his one. But there you go. There's some interest there. That people might find that knowledge about the VWAP useful. I think he claims his VWAP is heavily modified. It's heavily modified because he doesn't want it to be reset every night, by the way. Dude, man, his claim there will be that, oh, this wouldn't work if it got reset every night. We need it to be heavily modified. So, and then it's like, well, we could set it back to be so that it changes every 7 days instead. It's like, no, that's not going to work. We're going to need to make it so that it has a built-in moving average on it, so that we can regress. Instead of regressing to a 0 point, we can regress to a moving average of the VWAP itself over a period of a number of days as a moving average, so that we have a constant flow and 0 point line on it. Right? Heavily modified. There you go. That'll be what it is. Right, maybe one of the other 5 indicators, but he does like to say some part of it's heavily modified. Yeah, cool, man. I mean, it'll all be heavily modified, right, or whatever, but there you that'll be how. The blue triangle is supposed to be a switch in market direction. Sweet, thanks. Excellent. Dude, man, keep bringing me the info, man. Keep bringing me the info. Let's stick it back on again so we can see. Did I just remove it from the charts? I must have just removed it from the chart. Here, look, if it turns out this thing's the greatest thing ever, then I'll eat all of my words about it. But I've not said anything negative about it itself. I just said it's a series of components, and that if you want to learn how to trade as a life skill, then that money that it costs to buy it, you'd probably be better off spending on learning to trade, right? And since spending it on that is the equivalent of chucking it down the toilet, how about you do a little strategy? And there's literally thousands of strategies that you could choose from, and you can choose your own or make your own up. It doesn't matter. Like, you could make up a strategy wait, let's make up a strategy in a second here. It's that I took off the chart, right? So blue triangle, changing market direction. Well, the change in market direction happened down here and moved up the way. If it was down, no, it's kind of redundant. Red triangles seem to have worked here in a sense, I suppose. Kind of worked there as well. It's not a triangle, it's a diamond, isn't it? Changing market direction, the blue triangle's useless. Blue triangle is useless. So, brilliant answer, Rocky. Oh, Dan! Oh, thanks, man. Genuinely, you get like imposter syndrome up the wazoo when somebody asks you to do a question and you don't straight away answer and say, oh, I don't know, you know. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think I was covering anything up there. For anybody who's wondering why I'm even saying this right now, it's because I really value authenticity, and I'm never going to be disingenuous with my audience, right? Okay, so there's that. Sometimes my brain is heavily modified. Heavily modified, Lamau, totally. Nice. I might get heavily modified this weekend myself. Todd, if you know the George Carlin joke. 3,000 Trend, I'm glad you could make it. By the way, Trey, nice to see you here. Nice to see you here, 3,000 Trend. Good to have you. Look at this fantastic community. I'm so proud of everybody. Don't become a Todd Schultz, Rocky. I'm so I feel sorry for Todd Schultz. He's probably just like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Whatever. How long have we been at this? About 7 hours now? 2.5 hours. We'll have to move on, right? We'll have to move on. We've done the analysis for Ethereum, right? Somewhere in amongst all of that, there was an analysis for Ethereum. Unfortunately, the cipher pattern thing didn't actually make it any easier for us to do the analysis. I suppose suffice it to say that on the 15-minute time frame, things are looking good, right? Okay. Chainlink. Let's bring it on over with us here. Let's bring it on over with us. Going up towards the 24-hour time frame. You know what? Let's do this properly. Who am I kidding? What? That whole time, and it didn't occur to me until the very end of it. Nice. Drop a stream marker. I've not actually looked at the TA for this today, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Full disclaimer. So we'll do this one together, right? Same, likewise for Tezos, we'll do this one together, right? So it'll be like us making the decisions at the time. I'm going to drop a stream marker in here. Hello, my friends. I'm not Crypto Face. Welcome to the show. Let's take a look at the Not Crypto cipher, the one that's made by Vu Manchu, and is absolutely free and available on TradingView without having to give Crypto Face $1,500. And take a look at the Chainlink technical analysis here. Wait a minute, I'm being negative about another YouTuber implicitly by doing that. So I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Scrap that start. I really don't want to be negative. I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's actually really hard. God. The fact of the matter is, it's actually really hard to do this job, right? You know, and for some people, what they need to be able to get the confidence to go in front of a camera is to put a mask on, and then to show highly leveraged trades, you know, and try and like build up an audience that way, and then sell an indicator and all the rest of it, and you know, just build up hype about yourself just to be able to get through the day, right? I mean, that's how hard it is for everybody. It's not easy doing this job, right? So I really need to back off in terms of anything that I'm saying that's negative about the guy. Yeah, by the way, Sikander, how about you start trading with 4 coins, right? Start trading with this is what I was saying in the other episode, tips for newbies and all that. The other day when I put out that thing, is if you're going to trade a coin, trade a coin. If you're not going to trade a coin, don't trade a coin, and don't even bother looking at it, right? Choose a few coins. Just choose them. Doesn't really matter what they are. I know you're interested in Cardano. That could be one of them. I know that you're interested in many other coins as well. That could be one of them. Choose, say, 4. Choose 3. Choose 3. Or choose 2, right? Or choose 1. Right? Doesn't really matter. Don't go more than 4 though to begin with. And then look and say, right, I'm going to have a strategy with this one, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to follow through with it. And let's just call it, for you personally, how about we do the 9-period exponential moving average and the 21-period exponential moving averages, trading on crosses for them, right? How about you do that? Just that alone. Not even putting anything else in there like a 200-period exponential move or 200-period moving average to say if we're above or below it, do you not take trades? Okay. Let's just do that, and let's just also say that why don't you only ever take trades on the 4-hour time frame and above? Okay, then also every time you take a trade, use a roughly 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio, or no, start off with like a 3-to-1, 2-to-1, something like that, 1.5-to-1, right? 1.5-to-1 risk to reward ratio, and give it 20 trades. Okay, 20 trades. Now you might lose a lot of those trades, but give it 20, and understand that that consistency in your approach will lead to you being able to iteratively improve. Understand that simplicity probably outweighs complexity exponentially in terms of getting from 0 to hero fastest. Okay, make it easy on yourself. Okay. And you can then perhaps consider looking at things like, oh, the ticker stopped. Looking at things like whether or not you are looking at things like looking at Tezos, for instance, right? Tezos, good coin for trading on. I've recommended that to people in the past. Try trading that for a wee while, okay? Just try trading that one. Cardano, Tezos, one of the daddy coins, so Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? Okay, so there's 3 of the 4 coins, and then a 4th coin, right? That's for you to decide. That's for you to decide. Okay, so I've given you 3 examples already, and then just do that consistently for 20 trades. Okay, and look across all 4. Find the one that's got the signal in inverted commas that you're looking for, and take a trade on it. Right, using that risk-to-reward ratio. No matter what happens, you're getting out at the defined levels that you've already decided, whether that's taking profit or taking a loss. Okay, and do it 20 times, and then come back to me and say, Rocky, thank you so much. You've cut 6 months off of my learning. I now know what I'm talking about so much more. You helped me so much. And actually, don't worry about it, Sikander. Just come back, join the Patreon and all that sort of stuff, and I'll appreciate that. Okay, right. So that's that one. I feel like that's probably necessary. Hi Tucker, I'm Todd. Hi Todd, I'm Tucker. I'll have made it big time. She'll make the big cows. You guys will be crypto detectives. Take notes, Sikander Shah. I'm taking them too, lol. Oh yeah, great. You know, always learning. He's in the same position as you at the minute, by the way, Sikander, in the sense that he's relatively new to the market, really, you know, enthusiastic, wants to learn, doesn't want to let this enthusiasm that they're feeling right now fade away over a period of time. Strike while the iron's hot, learn a skill for life, start it here, do it right from day one, and you will be so much better placed psychologically in the future to do things correctly. Doing things correctly from the very start means you'll probably not develop a lot of bad habits, okay? That's going to be really helpful. There's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, that will be able to follow the same thing. What do you think of my headwear, by the way? If you're just tuning me, drop me a like if you like my headgear. Don't worry, I'm taking lots of notes. Oh, good. You got a Google moderator team up on your face. What's that? Wait, all right. Okay, you're just joking, I think. Right, let me do this, but I can't be negative about, I don't want to be negative about anybody on YouTube. See, the thing is, we were joking about Crypto and stuff, we joke about him all the time. I actually do genuinely believe, he probably is one of the nicest guys in crypto, I do genuinely believe that he's actually genuinely trying to help people and all the rest of it, you know, I do think so. I just don't think that he's able to sort of string this story together of what really is going on. I mean, for instance, his video, which you'll be able to see where he lost his $1 million trade, in that video, if you look down below, you'll see there's a link to Femex, where if you deposit money, you get a bonus. Well, he gets affiliate money from you doing that. Then in that account, with that affiliate money that he'd gathered over a while, he then put on a trade, which was at a very, very high leverage amount. Very high leverage. He got in at 9,400 and would have been liquidated at 9,200. Okay, so he took all of his money that had been given for free, no risk essentially, but there is a risk because it's his money, so you know, and then he put it on a trade, and then it went up. Fantastic. Now, there was a little bit of money left in his account in order to pay those fees, but really though, over the period of the next 4 months, enough people used that affiliate link to keep his trade open till now, and then he's all like, I lost my trade because I didn't have the money in my account to pay my funding fees. How did that happen? Well, you know, that's just life. That's just the way that these things go. He then had to spend how much on funding for that trade? Guess. Yes, $150,000. So you're talking about so how did he, where did that $150,000 come from when he only had a trade in there? He had 2 trades in that account. His previous one was a loser, and then this one was a winner. And where did he get the money from? From his massive YouTube following, putting in that affiliate income to keep that trade open, you know, because he wasn't depositing it to it himself, right? Think about it. And he's had the trade for a long time, and it's cost a lot of money because there's like so much funding there. Quick tip for people, by the way, when you're trading on leveraged accounts, a lot of these sites are going to charge you the funding rate on your entire position, regardless of whether or not you're 1x or 10x or 100x. Just a little bit to know. So if you put in isolated margin, you think, oh, it's cool, I've got $1 in there, I'm trading it, and I'm trading with $100, but I only really have $1, and I'm trading at 100x. the funding that you're paying is on a 100x position, is on the $100 position, right? So then you put in $50 and you trade with $100. It's on the entire position. That's right. You pay funding on the entire position regardless of your margin deposit. Something that's worth knowing. Now that's probably a more sophisticated tip than the one that Chris was giving out today, which is about make sure you've got some money in your account to actually pay your fees if you need to pay your fees. What ifs? Right? What ifs? What ifs? What ifs? I took a note earlier on, divergence on the MACD equals wedge former on the chart by Rocky. Well, there you go, thanks very much. I don't think anybody else has said that in the history of humankind. Probably someone has. But there you go, there you go, yeah, cool, right, excellent, fantastic. I feel flattered that people are taking notes. My chat keeps auto switching back to top chat. Anyone else get this? I don't know, man, that'd be so frustrating though. All I can say is that would be really frustrating. Let's try and do this real quick without taking the piss too much, okay? Hi friends, my name's not Crypto's, what the fuck, what's his name again? Crypto Face. I don't like the smell of these masks, never have. Hi, what are we talking about here? Chainlink is exploding, that's, no. There's a sell signal, right? Sell signal is a 24-hour time frame. Let's just actually do this real quick beforehand. Right, 24-hour time frame. And we have to say that, I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to use this thing, but I'm going to think that that red diamond is a sell signal, and this is a confusing picture. So I'm going to actually just do the TA myself. Confusing picture there, but we're on the edge of it. You can see it is a confusing picture. This is the thing here. Boom! So that's the best part about it. That massive MACD hidden bullish divergence. Let me see about this here in the 12-hour time frame. Same setup essentially. Same setup. It's just flipped in terms of its motivation. 4-hour time frame. Tentative positivity here in terms of that. Did we get these two here? Yeah, cool. Compared to here, that's fine. Compared to these lows, this is lower, is it? Yeah, it is slightly perfect bullish divergence. So the actual story on this, just I need to take his thing off so I can tell what I'm doing. Also need to take this off my face. God damn it. Where's his thing at? I've got so many, ladies and gentlemen, I've got so many indicators saved in my list now that they don't actually appear on the screen, so or something, so I can't see his thing to hide it on my indicator. So that's funny, isn't it? I'll get rid of a couple that I don't need. Hull moving average is pretty. It's not one of my favorites, to be honest with you. Whatever. TV sequential. So I'll leave that on. I'll leave it on. We can do a Tony Vase episode sometime. Would anybody like to see me do a Tony Vase episode sometime? We could do that for Chainlink. So we'll do Crypto Face for Chainlink and Tony Vase for Tezos, right? Although I feel a bit bad for Tony Vase because it's not his fault. Like that's how he speaks. But we'll try it. Okay. 4-hour time frame. This thing says sell. Hasn't said anything since. There's a little golden. Is that a golden thing there? Is that the golden thing that he talks about? Wonder. 12-hour change in market direction. Okay. Cool. Tony, love to see you. Beautiful. Nice to see you, beautiful Tony. I would pay you, Rocky, for a more structured class for noobs that provides a simple strategy to scalp and to swing. That's cool, dude, man. I'll be doing that at some point, I reckon, as well. I kind of did it today in a way, a little bit, just a little bit, but and that's what's prompted your comment, so no problem. I could see that you're talking like structured is what you're talking about, more structured, the same sort of thing, but more structured. I get it, and maybe with like writing on screen, explaining what's going on, and saying you can look at this and understand. So I provide you with like lecture notes type idea. That's cool. I'm not going to lie. I hear some people say some dumb shit that they've tried to pull. I rarely trade with any considerable leverage. Yeah, man. Yeah, the red diamond is a sell signal. The red circle in cipher B is confirming. Dude, man, I have to listen to you at work to listen live. Makes it hard to absorb what you're teaching. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. Thanks, man. Sorry I've been away. Not been too well. Getting better. Hope you're well. I hope that Tony, I hope that the way that you've not been well is something glorious, like that you went to pick up a weight that you went to do bench press 5,000 kilograms and the elephants shat on your face. That's what I hope. If it turns out that you've had the C word, then I hope that you're all right. If it turns out that you and by the way, still much love to you with the recent. You know what we're talking about. And then as well, and if it's anything else, then remember, you've always got friends here. We're all your friend. We love you very much. Okay, cool, nice one. Big smiles, big hearts. Right, let's do this thing. Biatch. I saw the hearts before they got deleted, Tony. Can you expand some more on what you mean divergence on MACD and what that means on the chart, so you can basically what to look for? Yeah, sure, Sikander, but the way I'll do that is just simply say go to my channel and search divergence in my videos or whatever. You'll find I've got a couple of videos on divergence already, right? It explains it better than I'll do now, and I'll not interrupt what we're doing. I'll not interrupt what we're doing. What are we doing? Not too sure. Anyway. Hi friends, my name's Not Crypto Face, and we're going to use the Not Crypto Cipher by Vu Manchu here in this episode to do some analysis on Chainlink. Thanks very much for joining me. Let's see how the prices are getting along. By the way, hit the like and subscribe because this is the best TA channel in the world. It's Rocky Outcrop here, by the way. I'll see you in the charts. So welcome back to the charts. As you can see, this is a live stream, and I need to keep this on. This is a live stream, and join us for one of those one day, and you'll be able to see my full visage. Wouldn't that be amazing? I am not normally so incognito. Let's take a look at the charts. What we can see here with regards to the crypto cipher is that there is, of course, a change in direction in the markets here signal to us alongside a sell signal, and of course as well it's looking pretty rubbishy down there on the cipher B. Right, great. That's part one of the technical analysis done. 12-hour time frame, 24-hour time frame, and the 4-hour time frame. You're seeing that there's sell signals everywhere for us on that one, and it's looking like that. It's all rubbish, right? Okay, cool, nice one. Glad that's done. Right, cool. Okay, by the way, Chainlink not looking too bad over here. It's nice to see that, of course, while we are in a little bit of kind of chop at the minute with regards to the Chainlink prices, and that there is actually some negative things happening. It's nice to see that with the recent drop down the way, when we look at the MACD over here, we could have a good degree of hidden bullish divergence still remaining to be played out. Now, of course, we have had a big move up since this happened. As you can see, the initial impulse down here at the start of this period that led into this hidden bullish divergence was very, very deep, and we've since then risen up towards prices up at 31. So from 20 to 30, you're talking like a nearly 50% rise up. So it's worth mentioning that this could, of course, be already sort of played out. However, here we are on the 24-hour time frame, and we're looking at this most recent high, having taken out this little bit of inflection over here, this most recent low having been higher than this low over here, and things are not too bad. We could actually be in a position to see a cross between the 8 period and the wait a second, the 8 and the 18 period exponential moving averages here on the charts for us in the not too distant future. Bringing back all the rest of the moving averages actually, though, as it happens. You can see miles away from the 200 period simple moving average. Oh, what's that? Oh, Pedro, thanks so much. Welcome to the family. Way quality. That's fantastic. Good stuff. Right. Anyway, as you can see here, miles away from the white dotted line here of the 200 simple period moving average. We're up here, and I've got the 50 right at where bums, so we'll have to look out for that one. The distance between these two is fairly vast, obviously, and looking down the way, it is feasible, it is theoretically possible, completely possible for that crypto cipher type chat to play out, where we would see this coming down towards the $16 area. Now, but there are actually there are other things to look at for us on this one that are maybe worthwhile. Over here in the 4-hour time frame, we can see the stochastics very much pointing towards the top side, which is good because we need to see the prices move up on this time frame to certain areas to really kind of break the back of what could be the bigger to stop that sell signal from really being legit there on the bigger time frames. Over here on the DMI, you can see that we've had a negative cross, of course, in the past, but this was during a period of chop, and that chop remains, and that's kind of the point I was making overall, that taking signals during a period of chop is going to be slightly less reliable to you than taking it during a period of strength, strongly trending markets, where you're in a market, the DMI is telling you that it's a strong strength of bullish trend. You see something else that says it's also bullish, you see something else, that's all great. You're in a market which has got chop, which is for the last, since the 22nd of February, right up until where we are now, it's just been going sideways essentially. Then, of course, you're looking at a slightly different picture. On the 4-hour time frame though, we had this death cross here. This death cross, the prices were up above it when it happened, they dropped back down the way, tested the 200, tested the 50, recovered the 50, up here, recovering the 200, and that's what I'm talking about. Baby, if we actually manage to push on up the way, things could be not so bad overall. Looking at the way that we had that, we had the bullish divergence here at the low, the visible bullish divergence here at the low that brought us up to where we are now. Very good to see that that happened. So far, what do we have? Of course, structurally a higher low. Fantastic. That's good, and we're in a position where the oscillators have very much reset, bringing up the RSI. You can see that's the case as we're sat here at the neutral line on the 4 hours. Now, could it go either way? I think it could. Have I explained the either wayness of this situation right now? Yes, I have. So what am I going to do? I'm going to short the shit out of this one, baby. Yeah, drop the mic. No, I'm just kidding. Just be careful when you're out there trading, and try and look across try and look for a couple more things than just one signal. I think probably, or one red dot telling you what we are. We are obviously experiencing sideways as we consolidate. Is this a period where we're distributing before we're having a big drop down the way? Well, it could be. It isn't like typical Wyckoff distribution that we're seeing here, but it could be. Or is this period here actually more of an accumulation phase where we've had a stop hunt happen to load up on your bags before carrying towards the top side? That could also be the case. There's two conflicting narratives in this market right now. I'm going to actually err on the side of the overall prior trend. It's towards the top side. I'm going to say that this has been a fairly significant pullback, incredibly significant pullback really in the prices, in all honesty. But then we've since subsequently moved towards the top side so far, put in a higher low. If we push up on the 4-hour time frame, things look pretty dandy, and we could then be going up towards the next area. The next area is absolutely within the sort of tolerance of our take profits. Let me just be clear on this one. From where we are now anyway, that you probably would be taking profits up there in around about our previous highs, and on almost all potential iterations of how you would be trading this in this region. The likelihood is that you'd probably be taking your profits before you even got towards those highs. So far here, in terms of the Fibonacci retracement points, whoa, crazy. Come back to earth here, Rocky. So far in terms of the Fibonacci retracement points, yes, we're above the 236, great. Above the 382 so far, great. We were up at the 618 golden pocket. You can see I've got 6.5 on the screen there. We were up at that. We pulled back since, and we of course then obviously in terms of the inverse of this activated, got an active and ongoing Fibonacci retracement towards the downside. So long as we're below that point, that's obvious. I feel, although I'm pointing it out anyway, because the next target towards the top side is this serrated line. If we can push past that, then the overall picture changes, and then the other thing becomes a false signal. Failure to do so, and then of course what you're looking at is the confirmation of this death cross up between the 50 and the 200. Right. Nice one. See you in the next video, eh? Cool. So that's that one. Now we're going to go on to do Tezos. Get rid of that thing. Going to go do Tezos, and then I will want to do this like 20 Vs, right? We've already kind of spoken about all of this anyway in the past. We've talked about all the measured moves. Things haven't changed too much for people, for the folk watching right now, during the actual videos, give you the extra insight. Same situation with regards to the charts here as what we're looking at with Chainlink right now. Somebody pointed out recently that the charts are very similar. Well, they are right now in a number of senses. As you can see here, that same concept with regards to the death cross here on the 4-hour time frame. the relevant sort of Fibonacci numbers that we're at here, just at 382, 50% up above us. Now, of course, it wasn't 618 golden pocket, but it was the 50%. So what you're looking at in terms of the difference between these two is the equivalence of the difference between the Bitcoin and Ethereum chart. Okay, same sort of thing. Hopefully, we'll see them both carry through towards the top side and buck off any negative pressure and just resume the upward trend. However, that's not, of course, not guaranteed. We have got a measured move that we haven't fully captured yet on this one, and so far, so long as we're staying above the 370 area, things are pretty good. But that's a little bit much. You know, the truth is as well that we had a retest of this area, and we had and recently we've come back down towards 346. Did anybody hear my technical analysis recently where I was telling you that's where the prices could go? I wonder, because you could have traded that, you could have made some money. There we are looking at 382 there. You know, we came back down, we touched that, now we're back up again, and we're hoping to see things continue on up the way. Bringing up the oscillators down below, chop over here. You know, the volatility will come soon. When it comes, will we see potential retraces? Well, possibly, and it would be nice if that was a retest back down the way to test off of the subsequent golden crosses that happen here if we do get pushing on towards the top side, taking out that 200 simple. Okay, that's your technical analysis for Tezos. Everybody watching along here may or may not understand that, but you know, with the relative contrast with Chainlink, I think it should kind of speed up that process of assimilating that information for people. But if we're looking here in the MACD, did we have a huge stinking amount of wait, actually, do we even care? Do we even want to go into any more detail? No, we don't even need to go into any more detail. Let's hack the system here with the simple technical analysis. That's A and that's A. I did have them on here, so there you go for the folk back home. Where's TD gone? I didn't mean to delete it, so I'll have to add it again. Any customization I did on it is gone. So Tony Vase is essentially does all of his is Bro Bear. Well, we're going to go with the Bro Bear TD sequential here today, ladies and gents. This sucks. It's got too much writing on it. I don't like it when people put on signals on the charts. You know that? It's one of the things I have against. Again, I don't like it. I don't like it. So are we going to keep it or not? Look for another TD sequential. That's better. Hello, my friend. Right, it's Tony Vase. Now, I don't want to actually insult the guy, so we're going to have to think about this. Do I want to do that? I mean, his voice is such a distinct aspect of his character, and it's so unique that, but also, I think any impressions of that would make it sound like I was being negative built in. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But then again, you know, that's what it's all about. I mean, if somebody did an impression of me one day and did a mock Scottish accent, I'd probably laugh about it. I don't want to be. I can't really do it because I don't want to be negative about people. Don't want to be negative about people. So anyway, let's just scroll up here and see the chat before I continue on the way. Sikander, can you expand some more on what you mean by cyber? Yeah, I told you that. Okay, cool. Mac, yeah, cool. New high or lows on the indicator, blah blah blah. Yeah, cool. Jimmy just explained it to you as well. Tony, Rocky using the EMA ribbon. That's the first for me. No, I'm not. I'm not actually. I did. Bitcoin, please. Sell or buy? Oh, buy as much as you can. As much as you can. If it means taking your children down to the local market, tying them up on a stockade and selling them to people, you know, any money you can get at this stage, buddy, do it. You know, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it, buddy. One of us. Sorry, mate. Sorry, I just don't care. I could try and answer you, but I'm not going to. I promise you, if you subscribe, it will be the best decision you ever made. I promise this, guys. Thank you so much, Sikander. I really do appreciate it. Tony, thanks for being Tony. Bitboy Bumboy. Who's the Bitboy Bumboy? There's somebody in here. Somebody, I've smelled it recently. Somebody loves Bitboy in here. I think it's actually K-Doc likes Bitboy. I don't like Bitboy because he's an asshole, right? But then again, there was me right on the edge of doing an episode where I kind of do an impression of Tony Vase, and that would make me like into an ultra asshole potentially too. So it really depends on perspective as well. I noticed Cardano bounced off the 21 today. Maybe there's a reversal. Hey, check it out. Tony saying it's bounced off the 21 today. There you go, folks. You know, you're looking for your Sikander, you're looking for like a strategy or something. I've kind of gone through a couple of them already, and there's Tony already just kind of completely coincidentally bringing up a similar bit of chat with a coin that you're interested in. All good, bro. Just finished watching the entire Star Wars set. Wow. While not being very well. Nice one, man. I've not watched the entire Star Wars thing. You'd think I would have, but I haven't. There's like the modern ones, you know. Cardano about to cross in the 4-hour MACD. DMI also very close to crossing too. That's cool. I don't like Bitboy because he's an arsehole. I think that's a fairly good summary for it. Wait, no, that was the one that you're just quoting me. Sorry, Tony. I just agreed with you there, but whoops. Right. Okay. Cool. So let's try and do this. Hello. I can't do that. Let's just real quick, quick reminder of Tony Vase's voice. Quick reminder of Tony Vase's voice, right? And it's not Tony anyway, it's Tone. I'm aware of that. Oh, quick glance at this thumbnail again. So good. Right, Tony Vase, bring up, come on, speak to me, Tony, speak to me. No, wait, no, it was most recent video. 16 hours ago. Cool, okay.
Alright, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Arbitraging
between those. So
this is very, very interesting.
This is very, very interesting. Okay, we can maybe go with that. Well,
someone is asking if we have actually the Canadian. No.
Shh. Come on. Get on target, Rocky. Get on point here. So, this is very interesting. This is the and that's not even, that's making him into some sort of New York thing. I need another educate. Come on, Tony, educate me.
The opposite. GDC is at a negative 9 premium.
9 premium.
Selling the Canadian version.
The Canadian version. Right, okay, cool. Talk like that. Talk like that. Drop a thing. Hi, friends. We're looking at Tezos here, and we're going to be using the TD sequential to be coming up with some ideas about the charts. I learned all of this from Tone Vase. If you like what you're seeing here, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. Yeah, we are seeing a 4 on the TD sequential over here. Sorry, give me a second. I need to hide these. Moving averages. This is Tony Vase technical analysis, ladies and gents. So just the TD sequential, right? Cool. We're on a 4 here for Tezos, and I would really like to see us get a 9. Right, that's Tony Vase, classic Tony Vase. I'd really like to see us get a 9. Right, it's really hard for me to actually sort of do a joke and the real TA at the same time. So here you have it, right? We actually are going towards the top side just now. I would like to see this get a 9. When it does it, I'd actually like to see it break the structure of the previous area. If it actually comes up here and doesn't do so and then pulls back down the way, then you'll be looking for, of course, more of this. What is this? This is sideways and this is chop. Chop at a bottom. Hopefully that is, of course, going to count for accumulation. There we are looking at the RSI. We've moved back up above the exponential moving average here on the 4-hour time frame. That's good because we wanted to see that happen, you know, and start to kick things off, because on the neutral, we moved past the neutral line here on the 24-hour time frame. Of course, the DMI over here is negative, strength of trend. It's still in place, but it's diminishing fast. That's nice because of the chop that we're in right now. Now, of course, as well, 24-hour time frame stochastics, nice, pointing towards the top side. That's what we need to see happen, and it is happening. And what does this give you? A lovely dose of the old bullish divergence as well, bringing those moving averages back on again for us. We can actually see that there was on the 4-hour time frame a death cross recently. I'll just hide all this junk. A death cross recently here, right? So just here with the red dotted line, go past that one, the white one. Now we're coming towards the white one, the white dotted line. This is the 200 period simple moving hours. I'd like to see these get a crossover. Maybe we'll have a retest thereafter. If we're looking down here at the DMI, then what we're seeing is, of course, as well, that this is the potential for this to come in here and give us a bit of a kick up the bum. So we would potentially expect to see another local high coming in fairly soon, and the question really is, are we going to break the structure of the previous one, push past the 200 simple, etc., or not? The answer to that will be the answer for the next day or two's trend at that point. I think it could be quite a good opportunity for us overall on this one. Okay, script, right. Nice one. Go on, check out Chainlink, by the way, on the channel, the same video, for more information. Anyway, now just let me get a second till I get some Tony V's.
ETF.
If it has a positive, okay. So so if we have a positive move towards the top side, I want to see it get a 9. Yeah, let's see if we can do this, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Great. So I don't think anybody could say that was an actual piss take of his voice, because if I was doing an actual piss take of Tone V's voice, it would have been much more along the lines of, I wouldn't have moved my tongue. It would have been mixed in with it or whatever. I mean, it wasn't a piss. It was just like an idiot from Europe trying to do an American accent that everyone in America will think, God, that sounds so bad. What an idiot. I'm fine with that, by the way, because it's all just for the entertainment side of things. So that's cool, and I think I skirted. I don't think Tony would watch that and be totally offended or anything. Although he might be, who knows? I actually have respect for the guy. He actually is a decent trader and everything else, by the way. He's not a complete idiot. He actually isn't. I mean, he gets tarred by that, like that Bitcoin When Moon song. Let's get that up. So he gets
Bitcoin, please go to moon. Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. Novo can say we have
anyway, he is actually all right. He is actually all right. But anyway, right, cool, nice one. By the way, everybody, you might not have realised it, but now I have actually managed to arrive at the end of the show about 2 hours later than I actually intended on getting here. But there we have it, and I hope you've all had a really, 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 really good time with me. I know that I've enjoyed your company a lot, and I really look forward to having it again. Okay, it's great to have your friendship and your support, and it would be fantastic if that actually led to me having more friends. Because remember, a friend of yours is a friend of mine, and I can't wait to meet them all. If you go ahead and help, spread the news, spread the word, everybody, and tell people, your friends and family, and your mothers and daughters, about this great guy on YouTube who actually genuinely cares about your success as an individual. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Now, as well, big thank you to Pedro, who became one of the patrons today as well. That Patreon thing is available to anybody who wants to get in on it. Should probably put a link in here, so we'll just do that now. Patreon.com/rocky.outcrop. If anybody wants to do that, and I really do appreciate it. If you drop a like here, it really does help. And it's been a good day. It's been a good day, right? It's been a good day. I think there's a lot of content in here for people to watch over the weekend. If you want to come back and watch it again, leaving any comments down below the video probably helps in terms of the algorithm and everything else as well, if you want to do that. We've got Payam Tolu. I'm coming towards the end of the show here, but I'll take a look at DOT for a couple of seconds, because what we have here is quite a lot of people who are in DOT, and as well, for people who are eagerly biting their fingernails to the nail bed, wondering when I'm going to talk to them about the cryptocurrency stuff. I have started that ball rolling. I've got feedback coming in from one person who we have feedback, I should say, coming in from somebody about the live apt.us. Sorry, sorry. This is one of those ones, where you've got where it is more distributed, but that's cool. That's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Drop in volume throughout this period. Okay, that's fine. The consolidation. This upward slope here is good to see. How are we doing in terms? This is only the 4-hour time frame, of course. Yeah, of course, it's negative over there, but we have just crossed around the stochastics. Good. The low here is giving you all sorts of hidden bullish divergence if you want to look at it that way, although we don't have a high overall here to say that this trend is ongoing is not the case, in which case if we actually do break down past that previous low, it's false. We've got resistance right up here. If you're going to be taking if you're trading this short term and you're looking to get out at 37, of course. If you're trading it longer term and wanting to get a ride up towards the top side, then we're looking in somewhere. This is not 100% bang on because I didn't zoom in or anything to get it bang on there or use the magnet tool. But you're talking up somewhere between 48 and 58. Anywhere in that $10 range is a good profit taking target for anything pushing on past. Then the anticipated potential retrace at that point wouldn't be too shocking. 4.236. Look at this. Let's just edit this up because normally I don't use 4.236 on this point here. Instead, I like to look towards 4.414. Let's just draw this in for contrast and see. Oh, that's closer to where the high was. It didn't quite get the high. The high was, of course, 42, and it went up to 37. So we're out by $5 on that one. But cool. Okay. So yeah, this price action right now is actually taking us in right here, right now. The key area for us is this $33, $34 area. 34 probably, just to kind of round it off, but if you wanted to be accurate, it'd be like 33.50, and we're just above it. That's nice to see that we finally made it back up, having done overall just the shallowest retrace beyond the 236 that you're going to see. If we get this and we stick here through a couple of days, then that's pretty good, and I want to see that happen. This has all been done in the 4-hour time frame. Let's sanitize it a little bit. Just had a cross here of a negative cross. This is kind of choppy though on the DMI just now in that sense. We've got that upward sloping support line. It doesn't look like it was bearishly divergent overall with these previous run-ups, but that there is, yeah, that's the high. Previous one, perfect. Yeah, it's all fine overall. This is just the natural part of an upward trend until such times as it isn't. And by the way, until such times as it isn't part, I personally, in the face acknowledging that there's wicks that go down as far as all these areas and that the prices return back up, personally I wouldn't actually be carrying it on down past this serrated line here, which is actually lining up with, of course, our previous resistance. Again, for people who are interested, the calculation behind this I can't actually remember off the top of my head, but lining up with the wick there below is of this part isn't much of a coincidence in my mind. Anyway, and yeah, so that's up to the 24. Let's go to the 3-day real quick here. Yeah, okay, so we obviously struggled in terms of these below the DMI and the stochastics with the divergence as we were going up towards the top side, but overall the RSI came in without it, and so did the MACD, and those would be the ones I'm looking for. We have actually seen this turn around, and there's never been quite so high, heady highs of up here in $63, but if eventually DOT went on to become worth $1,000 or something like that, then we'd look back in the fullness of time and perhaps very rarely come to these areas. But at this stage in a bull market, could we then continue on up the way and go for other highs? We could, but we could also then look towards whether or not we end up with divergences on this thing at that point, and then maybe we pull back. Currently, we are in a position where we could pull back. Like I said already as well, we'll look at past these wicks. Probably wouldn't carry it past the $30 point, really, to be perfectly honest with you, from where we are now. That means I don't want to see more than a 10% pullback right now, although if we do, that's fine, and just saying that I don't want to see it. But if we see something that's more than, and we move down towards these areas like 27 again and don't find more or less immediate support, well then that's why I wouldn't have wanted to be in there past 37. And then our $38, that's of course the 3-day time frame. Back down there's the 4-hour. On the 1 hour, how are we doing with this movement so far? It's maybe worth pointing out that This is like class B, hidden bullish divergence. Class B though, let me kind of underline that. Yeah, rapidly diminishing strength of trend in terms of this upward trend. Yeah, if we take out these previous highs up there at 38, then things start to look very, 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 very good, obviously. But you know, be cautious with our all-time high area for profit taking. 37, 38. You know, if we take out the 414, then we're probably feeling fairly rosy on this one for us, right? Okay, and that'll do, right? That'll do. Thanks very much for tuning in. If I make this into a clip, I'm not sure if I will yet, but if I have done, and you've watched it to this point outside of the live stream, like and subscribe and come back for a live stream sometime. Great. Who knows, right? Tony Wright, where did you set? I've never set a stop before, so garnering info on successful trades. Rocky, I've missed something here. Your audio is gone. This whole time. It says on my computer. Is it still gone? I see you're not saying it right now. Oh, you're way off, Tony. Catch you later, Tony. Yeah, he likes to trade against BTC, by the way. The reason for that is because he wants to get more Bitcoin. Tony Wright, no, I get that. I only spot trade. I mean, if you bought at 105, where did you sit? Whatever. Tony, I see. What's the advantage of that? Oh, you're just having a good conversation there. That's good. Really sorry that I missed that there. Wonder how much it missed. The mic audio. We're back. When did that happen? Did that happen? Has my that polka dot thing that I made there now, is that all fucked, whatever. Oh, I was only out for a couple. Okay, cool, that's good. Came back after a bit. Cool, nice one. Thank you. Yeah, it's probably something like that. I'm constantly maybe just broke it again. I don't know. Constantly doing stuff like that. Welcome to fizzy cola bottle, what are they calling this? Fizzy cola bottle straw tasting event with Rocky Outcrop, where Rocky Outcrop tastes a fizzy cola bottle straw live on screen for the benefit of his audience, all at once. See, is it going to be really... I've got the old Pavlovian response mechanism happening already here. Am I going to cringe when I put this in my mouth or not? Enter your bets now. Not that bad though. Not that bad. What? Rock, do you ever trade options? Not that frequently, to be perfectly honest with you. Sometimes, but not much. Okay. Gotta go. Let me bring up the end screen though, eh? I'll not be gone just yet. I'm still with y'all. I need to edit this. Oh, is the audio gone here as well? The audio's... if the audio's gone, I'll be back, and I need to make the audio work on the end screen. But if maybe it will work. I don't know. I'll just check, and if it's not working, I'll make it work. If it's not working, I'll make it work. Is it working? It's working. Yeah, it's working. Cool. So let me just change the patron thing to have Pedro in there as well. Just double check, see, because it's Dan Anthony, Special V Baby, Drew's Tech. Nah, I think it said Pedro earlier on. I'll have to double check it on my emails or something. Yeah, it wasn't exactly properly cringeworthy, that thing, but it was nice. I liked it. I'm going to eat another. Pedro. That's right, ladies and gents. Fantastic. If you want to be part of that leaderboard, well, you know where to go. And thank you so much for joining into the show, everybody. You know, and I will be back again soon. So there isn't. I'm not. So just so y'all know, I have a Discord. You can all join it. You probably actually everybody that's here right now probably did. Wait. Oh wait. TR Castillo, you've just joined us. Wait. Oh, it's hey. 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 Ba to do. Ba do. Hey. What was I saying last time? Where were we? This is the 1 hour chart, 24-hour chart. Go back a couple of days. 1, 2. Look at that. So we made it up to the second target. Didn't make it up to the full one just yet. It's still on. We can still do it. It's still possible. Lovely to see my technical analysis on this being yet again absolutely bloody jaw-droppingly good. Everything is as it was. Everything is as it was. I'm looking for I'm just checking the delta here, by the way. TR. What's your name, by the way? TR. What's TR stand for? I could just call you TR. Pardon me. I burped. I didn't mean to. It happened because I'm a human, and I just did a cola bottle worm thing. So we also, just watch the previous episode where I went through it in detail while looking at the current charts. The audio from the previous episode, the audio from the previous GME episode with the current charts. Listen to the old audio, look at the charts as they are right now. It's all explained to you. Now, I didn't use a crystal ball. I didn't predict the future. You just do your technical analysis properly, and this is the outcome, okay? And so far, it looks like we're just still doing what we wanted to see, what we talked about, okay? I just want to give you an update on that. So as you know, sort of like the next target for us is in there. Oh, wait a minute. Have I said this wrong? Did we get the golden pocket after all? I'm really making a mess of this. Yeah, I'm not sure. This doesn't seem to line up. Was it not on log when I had it on last time? What's the deal? I don't know what's happened to my chart here. Fuck. I don't know what's happened to my chart. Something's happened to my chart, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. Alright, cool, so we did actually do the golden pocket. Oh, that's slightly different. So we're still not on for... So, you know, we could theoretically pull back at this point. What do we think? That's a much more complicated, interesting question. And as well, you know, great to see that I was just an absolute superstar. $148. I'm just so good. So, decent enough close to the week, obviously. Pulling back from the I'll let you think about what the significance of pulling back from the golden pocket is on the Friday. Recovered the neutral line. This is of course 24-hour time frame, but that doesn't really make sense when you're looking at this chart here, so I'll just change it over to daily so that people don't get confused at home. Well, I mean, what can I say, right? I mean, essentially, the TA from before brought us up to this area, and then this is at the over trading style of things. You know, this was the profit taking zone. You could see it pull back from here. We did see it pull back from here. It went from the golden pocket down to the 50. That's got so close there to having done the full thing. It makes me want to see then, just as this is purely from a Fibonacci perspective, but just to try and pop in the relative. Oh God. Sorry. Come up. Right. cool, that's okay. And yeah, exactly. Right, cool. So as I suspected, we ended the day just ever so slightly above the 236 there. Lovely to see. We are perfectly positioned, depending on how obviously the aftermarket trade and everything else goes and all that. And we'll figure that out, you know, come Monday morning. But we're positioned here nicely to continue on up the way. We are, from a technical analysis standpoint, of course, a lot of this kind of looks like shit. Let's be frank, but we're still doing okay. And if we want to actually manage to push on up past this area, then we need to take out our market, you know, our previous the opening up here, which was a gap which got filled immediately. We need to take that out and actually go up and fill the gap. Now, as you can see here, this 618 golden pocket lines up just shy of the wick here. There's the distance between the wick, just take off all the drawings actually. There's the distance between this wick here and this wick here, which is of course the gap. That's the gap. It's not the bodies, it's the wicks, right? At least that's certainly how I look at it. And you can see that the golden pocket there was right on that wick, meaning that we were coming up here to the perfect area to come up with, have a nice reset from, come back, and then hopefully manage to push our way through it during the next trading session, you know, into this gap. That would be nice to see. A pullback from this area would be not unexpected, and if we did see a pullback from this area, where it could go down to would actually be in around about this area over here at $111 or so. I'm not going to leave it on the chart, so I'll not be able to come back and talk about it, you know, that Fibonacci 618 sort of area on the way down the way. But we're doing okay. Now, in terms of the moving, actually, what TD sequentials on the screen right now, I might as well take advantage of it. Yeah, so you can see what we could see is that we get a 9 in terms of TD sequential here. I'd like to see a 9. So if you'd like to see a 9, you might see that 9 on Monday, and then I'd be looking for that pullback. So just look out for that. This zone here would be very difficult to get through, but that's the key crucial area. Like I said, yeah, whatever. I've already said all. Just little bits of interest are we're coming in for a 9 on the TD sequential. If you care about that and you want an explanation about it, then just Google something about how to use the TD sequential indicator, and then read through till you see that sentence then makes sense to you, okay? And then in terms of Ichimoku, Miles, hold on though. Yeah, it's Ichimoku's broken on this essentially. So anything which is to do with anything at the minute that looks back over a period of 30 candles or so, you know, anything that looks back over a period of around about 30 candles or so is going to be kind of essentially broken in that sense. If you're looking for these within typical operations things. So I'm not looking at the Ichimoku on this here. However, despite the fact that the moving averages do encompass that territory, I wanted to point out that there's a nice bullish spanning of these things all the way here, and that if we did come back down and retest off of either of these two moving averages, look at that, the 18 going right into that jet plane, woo, then those would be the two areas that I'd be looking for. Anyway, I just did all of that for you, TR, and you know what, he's probably not even here. If you are here, I just caught up, nice to see you all. I wonder if he's away off. TR, you did say something else as well. Stands for Tyler Ray. Oh, Tyler Ray. Oh, you're still probably are watching here. Tyler, if you're still watching, let me know. Right. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Right, cool. Much love to you all. That's me typing that in. Now you can tell I just actually sent that. So the difference between when I said now you can tell and or that message showing up in the chat and me saying now you can tell on the microphone, whatever, that's the difference. That's the time delay there. That's the time delay. Go to Neverland chat and I'll post a screenshot from my phone. That's cool. That's some chat in there about the thing. I appreciate it, man. Still watching. Quality. Good to have you here. What did you say it was again? Trip. Wait, you're not Trey, are you though? What did you say it was? It's short for something. Short for you don't need to type it again. I'll read it in the chat. Tyler Ray. Tyler Ray. Cool. Tyler Ray. Tyler Ray. The deadliest of the rays. Oh, you thought the stingray was deadly, did you? You've never met Tyler Ray. Stupid people never fail to show up at the worst of times at Artie Pyle. I wonder what that's in reference to. I'll have to read that back afterwards. Always learning. TD sequential. Well, you wrote that correctly. So if you're asking about whether or not you've got the name right, you do. You have the name right on that one. Just another indicator. Absolutely. That's correct. It is. It's one that's developed by somebody that was thinking about things. I mean, it's just like, it's you know, if you're really into candlestick patterns, then maybe the TD sequential will appeal to you as a sort of developing away from that. That might be something to think about. Thinking about quitting my job. I've made more selling 3 pieces of art on Maker's Place in the last week than my entire month's income from my job. Oh my god. Kenny, that's nice. Good to hear. It's just another indicator. Yeah, good man. Tony Wright, what a great community. Kenny Flatton, let me guess, NFTs. That's right, because that's what Maker's Place does. You're right there. Airports and Walmart run amok. It's like they dump them out of buckets in there. I don't know what you're talking about there, but that's quality. I wonder. I'm going to have to read back some of this chat afterwards. It's harder for me to read the chat when I edit it. It's so annoying that YouTube changed. I've got that thing. I should have recorded this locally, then I wouldn't have to do that. Whatever. Anyway, right, whether or not I come up with any clips of this stuff tonight or not is kind of you know, unknown at this stage, especially since it's already 11 o'clock where I am, so it's pretty late. Yes, but it's my own art, and I believe in the technology as a source of proof. Absolutely. And I would love to see your art. So if you've got a link right now if you have a link to your Maker's Place profile, put it in the chat and I'll open it up on screen and you can get a shout out from me over here. And there's a few of them, by the way. Always learning. There's like one's called Rarible, another one's called OpenSea, another one's Maker's Place. There's quite a lot of these NFT markets that have been around for a wee while. So, yeah, no. Oh, by the way, Kenny Flatton, you might enjoy that app, Cent. Good, strong crypto art community in there. If you've never heard of it, check it out. Go to cent.co. CENT.co. And tell them I sent you. In fact, it'd be cool if I had a affiliate link for that, because I do have affiliate codes, but whatever. Yeah, super delayed, huh? Well, I guess it's night all. Hey, Rocky Outcrop. Sorry, so late, brother. Kevin, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. I appreciate you being here. Easily a minute. Wow, a minute. Wow. Awful. Okay, so we've done it. We've made it to the end, and that's that. So I'm going to hang around for 1 more minute, just so that I don't miss out on any chat. Be aware that in 1 minute, I won't hang around for another minute after that. You know how it is. So I don't want to miss any chat anybody's got here, and you know, like it was I was about to say bye bye whenever Tyler Ray, the deadliest of the Rays, turned up, and then I thought, well, hey, I'll do what I do. I'll do the GME for him. So that's what I did. That's what I did. So, yeah. Another successful episode? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? I think so. I think it was a good one. So, by the way, when I go back, I update the sub count on screen. Yeah, cool. Okay, so wait, what are we at the minute? We're at 27 something, aren't we? Does anybody have my exact sub number? I can find it here. Oh, let's play this. I'm just checking my subscriber number. 2.7. Sure, I know that.
Stop going sideways now. Don't ever say we going down to 1K, but Mr. No Grass say we have
Cool, I've got 2,707 subs, so I'm going to be doing the reverse roll call. I'm going to turn this music down, I'm going to leave it on in the background actually, because it's just too good. and then and I'll do the reverse roll call. ROTS token. That'd be cool, you know, that would be a good idea, Kevin. That would be a good idea, but we have other ideas. But that's not bad. I like it. Yeah, we both agree with you there. Of course, you'll hear me say this in roughly a minute. Right, cool. So I've not missed out on anybody. Even got to say hi to Kevin. That's quality, and I'll do a reverse roll call in a second here after I have changed my subscription goal. Thanks, Always Learning, for giving me a reminder to do that. Title: subs to 3k. Goal amount 3,000. Starting about 2,707. End after. Can we get there by, and this is the target, 13th of March? Let's face facts. It probably ain't going to happen, right? Right? But there it is. It's on screen for us now, the correct number. So there's 7 days to go, and we're 90% of the way there. That sounds great, right? Sounds great. It is the best. It is the best. It is the best. It is the best, right? It is the best tune of the year. But there's another good one. There's another good one. This one. Maybe the next episode I'll do it with this playing in the background the entire time. I don't know. I'd be up for it. Let me know if you'd be up for that. Whether or not you believe it, I know YouTubers who only made 3k subs in their first year, and by second year went to 170k. 170k. Do you think that's even possible? Wow. I love this thing so much. I can watch this all day. Yeah, I'll let the stream play for like a couple of minutes. Yeah, there's 2 minutes 54 left on this video. I'll let the stream play for the rest of that, and then I'll say cheerio to everybody, alright? Actually, this is going to be the background music to the reverse roll call. Quality. That'd be fantastic, Always Learning. Wouldn't it be fantastic? Wouldn't it be amazing? Let's see, can I keep my integrity? Can I keep my honesty, my genuine care for the community when it goes that big? I think I can. I think I can, because every time I've tried to care less. Every time I've tried to care less, it's not worked. I've tried so hard to care less, and it just doesn't work. Anyway, Always Learning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Max Maher on YouTube, finance YouTuber. He did pander to the general finance crowd rather than just crypto. Yeah, cool. Andy, what do you think is going to happen next with Bitcoin? Looking for a new trade. I closed my other one at 31%. Andy, you're greedy, man. You're greedy. You're greedy, and I love it. You're greedy, and I love it. Okay, about how long I've got left on this one? I've got like 30 seconds. Right, you don't get much better than that. Okay, cool. So reverse roll call coming up, and by the time this music ends, and hopefully I've done it, it gives me like 20 seconds to get through it all. And that's right. Everybody who enjoyed the stream, hit a like, share it with your friends, your family, introduce me to your mother. Anybody that helps grow the channel is massively appreciated. And I hope that you all take something of value from the show today. If you do take something of value, and it was really, something particular in there, then I would really appreciate comments down below the video that say timestamps in them, because timestamps help me find the bits afterwards for making clips and things that'll help people for the future. Anyway, let's do it. Sikander, thanks for tuning in. Traceborn, thanks for tuning in. Andy, really appreciate it. Always learning. You're a great guy. Kevin, thanks so much as well. Good to see you, even if it's just for the last couple of minutes. Traceborn is a legend and is really, really appreciated. Artie Pile, Trey, Trip, whatever you want to call him, he is fantastic by any name. We also have, oh, don't want this to play by accident. The Knifeness Living Ploka featuring, screw it, let's just let it play then. Yeah, so also I really, Artie Pile, great guy, really do appreciate it by any an Artie, as Gertrude Stein said, an Artie is an Artie by any other name. Kenny, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it as well. Didn't see a link from you in there to your Maker's Place listings, but you might not even be here anymore. Who knows? Then scrolling on up the way, WallQ, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll check my Discord DM after the streams and see what you were saying as well. Good to have you here, by the way, Tyler Ray, the most deadly of the Rays. WallQ, again, yes, thank you for tuning in. Tony, beautiful gentleman, I really appreciate you tuning up here. Stanley Knife, you're a great guy, thanks for being here. Payam Toulouse, good to have you as well today, my friend. Looking up, who else did we have? Dan Anthony, legend, the living legend that is Dan Anthony. Super appreciate you tuning in today as ever. H Studio Production, I wonder if you've got a YouTube channel. Didn't notice you coming into the stream at the time, buddy, or I would have brought up your YouTube channel and given you a shout out. Stanley Nice, so good, I said your name twice. Drew's Tech, another legend, a fantastic guy. If you're ever in Mississippi, drop into his tech store and say hello from me. And that's it. That's everybody in the last 200 messages. Woo! Great. Fantastic. Have a wonderful and beautiful, productive, fantastic